You're muted.
Of course, I'm muted. I forgot to unmute ourselves. But
Yes.
Hello, everyone. This is Andre's Restart. That is Brandon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I've been unmuted. I've been let out of the void. And I'm here to talk
Let
about
out of the
Nintendo.
void. That's good. I'm happy for you. What I'm not happy about is... Okay, there we go. Chat's up. I can see the chat. We are good to go. The chat is visible. Everyone, let me know how everything is looking and sounding. Let me know if everything looks and sounds okay. I am going for a slightly different sort of setup here. You guys probably can't tell that much. Maybe you can. I'm not sure. I recently, and by recently I mean like a couple hours ago, just received a new monitor. It's a bigger monitor. It's like a curved, like higher resolution, higher frame rate monitor, which I got specifically because we are now entering the Nintendo 4K era, right? So I should be trying to edit videos in 4K now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but yesterday and today's videos are at 4K, 60 frames per second. It's quite a leap. And this live stream here on Google Hangouts, StreamYard, is 1080p, but when it's going to be for like directs and live reactions, I'm going to see if I can pull off 4K for that. I have the internet speed. It's more so a setup thing. Does OBS do 4K? Like in theory, it should, right? So
yeah, it does.
We should be doing a 4K stream for the Mario Kart Direct on Thursday. So look forward to that. 4K
should
60
be possible on your PC. I used to do 4K streams on a much less capable PC than yours back in the day, just for tests and stuff. I didn't do that regularly.
Yeah, I would assume. I mean, what I'm looking at right now is a higher resolution than 1080p, a lot higher. So it's quite nice. But I'm kind of like, so I've been using two monitors for the longest time, but both have only been 1080p. And so I pushed both to the sides, and now I have this bigger 34-inch curved monitor in the middle, and the entire table is taken up by all three at this point. So right now I'm just kind of figuring out, like, where I put everything, fit everything screen-wise.
Right.
I decided to like do this now because I got something new. I'm like, oh, there's a box. I'm gonna open it. Oh, this is it. Oh, this is bigger than I thought it would be. Oh, I'm gonna set it up. Wait, I have to go to the gym. Wait, the podcast is like 10 minutes after I get home. Oh, my hair is a mess. Oh, I haven't eaten anything. I should at least have hot tea because I'm still really sick, but it's better than before. Anyways,
life is hectic.
This week is the Andres Restart. We're trying to technical, set up stuff. We're preparing for the next era. I kind of feel like maybe I should have done this a week or two ago before the Switch 2 Direct, but it only kind of hit me like, oh, I probably should update things. And so we're trying to do that without breaking the bank too much.
Right.
Checking with the chat. Matt Carter, what is up? Netweed, hello there. Alma, Emma52, DG, Lex, you're at the airport. Hello. We talked about it. I saw the whole Switch to Experience thing you went to. That is so exciting. So happy for you.
Yeah.
So safe travels. XS Show, hello there. Akiri Sona, hopefully I got your name right. The destruction physics in Donkey Kong are abysmal. It looks like he's breaking weightless pieces of plastic. It looks awful. Oh, no. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm personally blown away by everything that game is doing, although I do agree that there could be things that can certainly be improved upon. But we'll see. The later build, things might look and flow a little bit better. Um, Having hope. Hello there. Thank you for giving me hope and also letting me know that everything looks and sounds great. I appreciate you. Connor, as well, thank you. I think I saw something crazy earlier. Well, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
But Netweed09 gifted
Yes.
5 Andres Restart memberships. My gosh,
Hell yeah.
you're gonna make me scream. I barely have voice. I'm still recovering, but I'm doing my best. I think. Let me know what you guys think. But I feel like my voice is definitely better than it was a few days ago. It's not 100, you see, but it's it's uh it's getting better. So who are the lucky winners of these gifted memberships? Can I catch them? Or is it too late? No, I got them. Daniel Almaraz, congratulations, welcome. Julian Laughs, welcome. Lodge 35, welcome. Legendary, I'm not going to say that other part of your name, but Legendary B, welcome. And Ben Bolt, welcome. That is awesome. Thank you,
Welcome
Netweed for
all.
gifting those memberships, and what a great start to the stream. Very much appreciated. So I'm gonna check in with a few ads here in a moment, but the plan for tonight is to do our predictions for the Mario Kart World Direct, talk a little bit about this game, and jump into some theories about Donkey Kong and Metroid because I want to talk more about those. And I always feel like the thing is we have like a big three, and I kind of just want to continue to talk about them. If you guys have questions about Switch 2 or Brandon, actually, I don't think I've spoken to you about Switch 2 since the Switch 2 Direct. Actually, now
No,
I
I
think
don't think
about
so.
it. So we could probably dig into that a little bit too.
Yeah.
But before that happens, I am going to go get my hot tea. So, Brandon, if you
Okay.
could tap dance for a minute, I'd appreciate that.
I got you.
I
I
don't know.
got you.
Maybe just talk about how awesome Donkey Kong is, or I don't know. I'll be right back.
Gotcha. I mean, I can talk about Donkey Kong. I thought it looked pretty good. I thought overall it looked very similar graphically to like Odyssey, but obviously with a lot of like physics stuff that would definitely not be able to be done on the Switch One. It's kind of in line with other first-party games so far, where it seems like the technical graphical base is mainly closer to like an evolution of Switch One graphics, but nothing like revolutionary so far. But with the scope pushed out in ways that are just beyond what the Switch One is capable of, at least at a decent frame rate. I don't think it's like some world-shattering physics. It's not like that game Teardown on PC. I think it's called Teardown. It's not like that, but it does do a lot of stuff that you don't typically see in games. Would be able to destroy like everything pretty much and just level the ground and just like have a whole like mountainside and just be like, oh, reduce that to nothing. Like, you don't really see that ever in pretty much any game. I'm sure there's examples. I remember Subnautica back in the day tried to do stuff like that, but then they took it out because it ended up just being too difficult either to implement or it was too hard to run. I forget exactly why, but they ended up removing that feature. And I haven't really seen it in any other game that I can recall. Man, he's really gone a lot longer than I thought. I'm having to vamp real hard here. Let's see. Connor has a question for me. So, Brandon, I have 2 questions for Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is 1, where's Diddy Kong? And 2, where's King K. Rool in the Kremlin? So those are both great questions. Probably nothing I can answer without Andres, but I haven't really thought about it too much. But you're right, Diddy Kong, we haven't seen. I mean, we've seen Cranky, right? In the treehouse, I believe they showed Cranky Kong for like a second, if I recall. So he's probably in there somewhere. I'd imagine he's there somewhere, but they haven't shown him yet, but I don't think that means he's not in the game. But maybe he's not. Who knows? And where's King K. Rool and the Kremlins? Well, I'm guessing they're not in the game because they're not the main villains, and they have definitely been missing from other Donkey Kong games before. They're not in every single one, so I assume they're not going to be in this one. Just doesn't seem like it's what they're going for this time. But Diddy Kong, I think he's in there. I think he's probably in there. Curtis Young, you said your hype is fizzled out a little, but you were sold on DK initially. Why is your hype dying out? I think it looks good.
I'd be here.
Welcome back.
Do? What did you do?
I talked about Donkey Kong.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said a lot of things. You've gone longer than I thought you would be. But
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm
I
a
wanted to put
grade A vamper.
You're gonna have to elaborate.
You don't know what vamping is?
No,
it's just like I don't know if I know the exact definition for vamping, but it's essentially just exactly what I did, which is just fill a void of time with talking.
Oh,
just like making stuff up on the fly to talk about.
Oh, but okay. Well, what? How do you feel about Donkey Kong Bonanza? Like that, I want to know.
Good. I think it looks really cool. I think on a graphical level, it's kind of like closer to like not an evolution. Okay, let me restart that because that was not very cohesive. What I said was it kind of falls in line with a lot of the other first-party Switch games we've seen so far, which is they seem like a evolution of Switch 1 graphics tech instead of more of a revolution. So they're using a lot of like tried and true techniques that you might see on Switch 1, but pushed out either in like scope or just a little bit more of what you would expect. So it's nothing that like I don't think any of the effects that we see are something that like in a bubble couldn't run on Switch 1, but everything put together mixed with the scope of the game. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is like everything together with the scope of the game with the physics that's is pushing it out in ways where that would not run well on Switch 1. But if you look at different graphical elements by themselves, like the texture resolution, it's nothing like crazy. The anti-aliasing, nothing crazy. It doesn't even look like there really is any. It's kind of standard Nintendo fare for a lot of the first-party titles so far, and different things like that. So, but they kind of evolve on the graphics by having, more different features than you would typically see employed at once in a Switch 1 title, but they're not necessarily features that you wouldn't ever see individually, right? Or like for like Mario Kart World, it's open world, so its scope is something that you couldn't really do on Switch. But a lot of the individual effects, not to say that doesn't look better than Mario Kart 8, but again, that was made for the Wii U. We never really saw what they could do with Mario Kart on Switch, and I feel like in a track-based racer that's closer to scope to Mario Kart 8, this is kind of what it would look like, or close. And so far, that's just in line with what we see for Donkey Kong as well. But the physics I think are really cool. The fact that you can just take like we've seen different time lapse videos of like a little hillside, and then it just gets completely decimated to nothing.
Yeah, Nintendo shared that on the Today app.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Twitter, but I do have the Today app, but I don't ever remember to look at it.
Yeah, well, don't worry. People on Twitter do it for you.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I just don't bother. But yeah, I think Donkey Kong looks cool. In terms of the gameplay and stuff and the scope, I think it definitely evolves past like what we would see on a Switch 1 title.
Okay. So I actually, even though when I hear you say it, I don't like what you're saying, but I think I still agree. Because I feel like I said similar things on my own. Maybe in simpler terms, but let's get something clear though. The Switch 2 is definitely more powerful than the PlayStation 4, correct?
In dock mode, yeah, most likely.
I mean, this thing is running Cyberpunk substantially better than PS4's Cyberpunk. First off, this game is also this system's also running Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, the PS5 version of 7 Remake. So we got that. We've seen comparisons of Elden Ring, And it's a better version, a more detailed version of the one on PlayStation 4. But let's just look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Game runs at 4K 60 and 1080p 120. PS4 could not do 4K. PS4 could not do 120 FPS. So the PS4 is a 1080p console. I think all those things kind of really sell the point that the Switch 2 is clearly above a PS4. Like it is. It's not a PS5.
I mean, a lot of that comes down to feature set, because a game like Metroid Prime 4 obviously isn't built around PS4 specs. It's built around Switch 1 specs, which is a lot closer to Xbox 360 specs. In fact, the game looks very similar to Halo 4 on the Xbox 360. It does look better than that game, but not like substantially better. It does very much look like a 360 game. But the art direction,
I don't really feel that's
the
fair.
deployment of it. I mean, have you seen Halo 4?
Yeah,
Have you played Halo 4?
Yeah, I have actually.
A lot of the developers who worked on Halo 4 worked on this game and were part of the art direction.
What I'm trying to say is that I think a lot of games look very similar, especially first-person shooters, and like the biggest differences we're seeing are resolution and performance.
My only point is this is a game that already runs at for Switch a very high resolution and a very high frame rate. So of course, on a console that, even if it was only PS4 level, probably if it had the feature set to do so, would also be able to produce a very similar experience.
Meaning a croissant.
I do think that the Switch 2 in docked mode is a bit more powerful than a PS4. Not like way more powerful than a PS4, but it's definitely more powerful than PS4. And crucially, it has a lot of more features than PS4. For example, as you said, it's able to do things like 4K. Base PS4 can't output at 4K. It just doesn't do that. The 120 FPS, base PS4 doesn't do that. But it's also not like we're seeing games built around PS4 going to Switch at 120 FPS or coming to Switch at native 4K or 4K 60.
I'm lost.
Essentially, games. I don't understand how you're
say
lost.
Switch. No, say Switch 2 if you mean Switch 2, and don't say Switch because then I get confused. Like say Switch 1 or Switch 2. Because I thought you're
Switch 2 clearly.
Okay. All right. So what are you saying? I didn't understand the last two sentences.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember exactly what I was saying in only the last two sentences.
It's fine.
But my point is,
you were saying if like a game was made for PS4.
Oh, okay. If a game is made for PS4, like PS4 class hardware, right? We're not seeing that run at 4K 60 FPS or 4K 120 FPS, or 1080p 120 FPS even. We're seeing very similar resolutions and frame rates to the PS4 versions with a few more extra features mixed in. So it is more powerful than PS4, but it's not like it's vastly more powerful than a PS4.
Well, I mean,
it is very much within that ballpark.
I guess what really, what I'm getting at is we're seeing some of these third-party ports that clearly look and run better than anything a PS4 would have. And so, clearly it's more powerful than the PS4. And it's somewhere in between PS4 and PS5. But before we saw what Switch 2 could do, we were talking about how Switch 2 might be more comparable to a PS4 Pro or a Xbox Series S. And I feel like that's pretty much on the money.
From what we've seen, it's definitely not as powerful as the Series S. I mean, just in terms of raw numbers.
I'm talking about results.
Series S.
I'm talking about results because we have to factor in DLSS, right? And so the end result, what kind of games are we seeing and how are they playing? And so you look at some of these third-party ports.
Well, see, it's mixed. It's not what you're trying to get me to say is it's similar to this or it's similar to that, but it's its own thing. It's very custom. Switch 2 falls in a very unique place. It's not completely comparable to any of these systems. For example, I was looking at Street Fighter 6 and I was noticing some settings were similar to PS4, some settings were similar to PS5, some settings were similar to Series S, some settings were from the PS4 Pro version. None of these settings are the same, by the way. They all are different, and yet it had settings unique to 4 different versions in that one version. Where
Kind
we're
of
seeing
wild.
is something that's a very much a mix. It's in between PS4 and Series S or PS4 Pro, but it's not really fully comparable to either. And since it's an NVIDIA chip, as you say, we have things like DLSS. We're not really seeing that employed so far as we know for certain.
I'm,
Um,
if
no developer has confirmed that DLSS is used, and there's no real reason to believe that it's being used in any titles from what we've seen. It could be, but it doesn't.
I feel
There's
like
no
I
indication
don't know.
that it is.
I mean, we know that the system has it because Nvidia has confirmed that already. So
Yes,
um,
but it
has
doesn't
has
appear that
has
we've
ray
seen it so
tracing. Like
far.
those things are all on the console. It's all capable, right?
Right.
Um, I do have a hard time believing that Prime 4 has hit, according to Digital Foundry, which, take that for what you will, but they're saying it's native. I mean, Nintendo didn't say it wasn't native, right? But they're saying 4K. I mean, maybe native is just like a weird word because if you account for DLSS, technically it's not native, right? But it's more than just blowing it up.
I don't
Um,
think that Metroid Prime 4 is using DLSS at all. I do believe it is actually just native 4K or native 1080p. As far as we can tell, there's
that's
no
insane.
TAA element. I mean, you would be able to tell just because the game is far too raw. Just because of how DLSS works, it would clean up the image by default more than what is being
So you
shown.
think it would look even better?
Yes, essentially the game doesn't have anti-aliasing for the most part. It may have some sort of very basic like FXAA or something like that.
So for those that don't know
But
what
it doesn't have
anti-aliasing is, that's when you like see like those like, let's say you see an edge and you almost see like the little like pixely-ness of it.
right,
And so like when that's aliasing, right? Anti-aliasing smooths out those edges so you don't see those little jagged pixels on a line.
right, right. There's a lot more types of aliasing, but that is the basics of one
Yeah.
type of aliasing. But
I
yes,
was I was
the
looking at
main
like
thing.
the treehouse footage. I did notice on one of the troopers in like the cutscene when Samus enters the facility that like on the shoulder there were still like some of those lines that I could see. I guess I don't know if that's aliasing, but it might just be like a low resolution texture. But like I've seen some things that don't look 100 like okay, this is I've seen some imperfections is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I mean the
Even though
game
the
is
Switch 2 version still looks
definitely.
substantially better.
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely looks better. It's at over. It's like 5 times the pixel count of the Switch One version or
Right, because
something
it's
like
not
that.
even 1080. Switch One version would not be
900.
1080p. It would be 900p at best. At best.
Yeah.
So it's extremely interesting to think
Assuming
about.
it has a dynamic resolution, which we haven't. I don't think we've seen any shots come in under 900p, but I can't confirm that with that.
Yeah, but let's come back to the chat for a little bit, see what everyone's saying, and we'll bounce around.
Cool.
All right, so I had backtracked, so now I'm trying to like find. All right, well, goodbye. No spamming.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I mean, geez, I'm looking through like how many times are you gonna say that nonsense? Yikes. Say it once. That's it. All right. J Biggs, Mr. NY4 Life, New York, I'm sure. The way I look at it, at base, Switch 2 is between PS4 and PS4 Pro at base. Now, before DLSS, Switch 2 developers at different skills can unlock Kaioken multiplies the push it into. Yeah, so like DLSS is Kaioken. Okay. For those who don't know, Kaioken is a amplification technique from Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, I have a lot of things to say about DLSS if you want to talk about that.
I don't know. It's not that I don't, but I do want to get. There are things I want to get to. So we'll. The way he made it sound like this is going to be a huge tangent, and I don't
I
want to go
just
on a huge tangent.
don't want people keep bringing up DLSS as this magical thing that's gonna
It is
make
magic.
games
It's
be
pure wizardry.
oh it's it hmm hmm uh, uh, uh,
All right, go
yeah
at it. Go at it.
I so the reason I suspect DLSS is not currently being used as far as we know is because it's a very costly thing to use. It takes a lot of your budget for the game. So obviously, when you're rendering a game, you have sort of a frame rate budget or a frame time budget. So like you want to hit 60 FPS, right? Then you need the frame to come out is so many milliseconds, right? And that's
Yeah,
your
it's probably
frame
more.
budget. And so if you have DLSS, it's very expensive, especially if you're trying to go from uh, up to 4K. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from. It matters more your output resolution. So, example, if you want to do 4K, it becomes very, very expensive. And it can become so expensive on the class of hardware that the Switch is, to where it can be, say, 50% of your total game budget, just trying to get to 4K. Nothing else. Literally, no textures, no models, no anything.
Why use it then?
Just using DLSS. That's the point. Why use it? Nintendo has patents for a lighter version of DLSS, and of course, you don't have to go to 4K with DLSS. You could go to say 1080p in a game that's very, very heavy. Maybe you want to go from 540p to 1080p. That could be something that's much more doable. But I keep seeing people be like, "Oh, we're gonna get all these 4K games with DLSS." But DLSS at 4K on the hardware that the Switch is extremely expensive, extremely expensive. So unless they develop a lighter solution, it's not really gonna be viable for most games.
I don't know. Like I understand what you're saying, but it just doesn't seem like if what you're saying is true, it doesn't seem like it would have been that worth the investment then. So I feel like there's got to be some elements that make it a little bit more cost effective. And I mean, you did bring up that Nintendo has their own patent for maybe
Yeah,
a less demanding version of it.
it seems
Um,
like they're working on this. So I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom, but that is probably why we haven't yet seen DLSS really being used, and definitely no first-party game has used it because they all have basically no anti-aliasing at all.
I mean, so
Just
basically,
one.
what we're getting at here is kind of pretty much the same understood concept for any new console, and it's that we're kind of just scratching the surface for how good these games can look and run.
Well, yeah, I think that's definitely an aspect to it. We know that, uh, you know, when you look at games that come out early in a lifespan of a console versus game come out in the late span of a console, you can do this for literally any consoles, Switch 1 included. Switch 2 will be the same. The later half games predominantly look a lot better than the ones that came out in, say, the first half.
I've always felt like that first wave of games that come up for a new console, not counting Nintendo, because Nintendo tends to do some weird stuff. Although even them, oftentimes as well. That first wave of games for a new console pretty much just feels like a higher resolution version of higher resolution, higher texture, detailed version of the late gen games from beforehand.
Yeah,
Um,
which is
which
kind of what we're seeing now.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're also getting like much bigger scope games. Like you're not going to see like an open world 60 FPS kart racer on Switch 1 most likely. That probably wouldn't
Bro,
work.
isn't that yo? Did you hear that apparently there's a 120 FPS version of Mario Kart World?
I have heard about this. I assume it's only for single player mode, but I kind of assume that would be the
I don't know.
case.
I don't know. I mean,
Since they got
you would think, right? But I don't know.
We don't know if 3 or 4 player is 60 FPS yet.
Dude,
I am curious about
actually,
that.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe single player free roam, single player it can be. Well, are we
I
talking? We're
wonder
gonna
if
assume
free
1080
roam would be
120.
included because we're assuming that it's 120 FPS for every single
I
mode.
mean, it's all open,
We would
so I don't know.
assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would assume, yeah.
I'll just
It's
put it where.
interesting, but I do want to go back a little bit to Donkey Kong, and then we're gonna come back to the chat, and try not to
Okay.
tangent as much for a little bit, because I do believe that Donkey Kong Bonanza is the Project Silver Star that I was talking about last year.
Mhm.
Remember, right? We were like,
Yeah.
hey, this is probably 3D Donkey Kong made by at least some part of the Mario Odyssey team. I mean, everything's fitting perfectly. So if this is as much as it's as close to being confirmed without it being confirmed, in my opinion. Um,
Right.
and
Seems
so right, and but with that in mind, though, to me, I think about that and think about how for how many years we've been hearing about this project, right? Because we heard rumors about the Odyssey team working on a Donkey Kong game shortly after Mario Odyssey came out, and so I then wonder, okay, well, we haven't seen a new game from the Mario Odyssey team since Mario Odyssey. It's
right.
been, let's see, uh, 7.5 years, right?
Mm, long time.
It's been enough time to not make just one game of the year candidate kind of game, but maybe two, right?
Yeah,
So, or close. Maybe you don't. It's not enough time to have made both, but it's enough to have made one of them and be close to finishing the second one, right?
for sure.
Right. And so I have to think that this game started off as a Switch 1 title. I mean, I look at it and I think it looks good, but there's also parts of it that don't look that good.
Yeah.
Not like, but I also consider, okay, well, but part of that's also because they're doing some intense things with the destructible environments and the physics. Like that has to be extremely demanding, which is why there's more of a simpler look overall.
I have to imagine it's really like memory intensive.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
hard to
it's
use on the
insane.
3 GB of available memory on Switch 1.
And the fact that it keeps track of all that destruction, that there's a 3D map that you can pull up,
Yeah.
it keeps track of it on top of it maintaining throughout the entire environment. It doesn't go away, at least not anytime soon. I assume it kind of stays for that run until you respawn, right? So it's just kind of crazy what they're doing with that. I would put that under the innovative category. And the game does look good. Don't get me wrong. I think it looks pretty, but there are clearly parts that I'm like, all right, it just looks okay. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
like the rocks just look okay
if
because
this was
you're
just a
doing
Donkey
whatever
Kong
you want with them.
platformer, without the physics, I could see this running on Switch 1 at a much lower resolution.
Yeah, right. I agree. But there are things that are very impressive about it, like the destruction, like the expressiveness of Donkey Kong himself, like
Yeah. I love how
that we haven't. That's next generation like facial expression technology, if you want to call it that. They put a lot of time and effort into how expressive Donkey Kong is, and I really like that.
yeah.
So yeah, the game's gonna be fire.
That does cost things to run. You gotta have all these like different
And he does it in
skeletal.
gameplay. It's not just cutscenes.
Yeah, you gotta have
Yeah.
like a more sophisticated, like I'm not sure exactly what you would call like a skeletal rig. I guess because you have to have all those different points to
Sure.
contour a face to do all the different
Yeah, it's
expressions.
there's a lot it can do, which is wild. Um, but let's now get back to the chat.
Cool. Man, I think
So
you're getting me. My voice is starting to go. Just you're getting
listening,
me sick through the stream.
it's a new disease. It gets you sick just by listening. That's crazy. That is wild. Yeah. I am. You know what? I'm creating some new mods.
We need more mods in the chat.
So there's a few more mods. I see We have a super chat from Mr. Real Shane. Thank you for the super chat. I love Zelda, but only play the games that are on the Switch. I was hoping Switch 2 would have a bunch of Zelda remakes. Should I just play them on
Mhm.
an SO or wait for Switch 2 versions?
I mean, I wouldn't expect Switch 2 to have a ton of Zelda remakes. Maybe a few
You get a
Zelda.
Zelda remake. You get a Zelda remake. You get a Zelda remake.
I feel like it really depends on which one you're expecting to play, because I assume we're gonna get at least one 3D and one 2D remake this generation. Is that fair to say? But probably not too much more than that.
Yeah,
Maybe another one on top, but
we
it's
only
iffy.
got one Zelda remake on Switch.
Yeah. So even having a 2D and a 3D one is, more than we had before. But I do
Right.
kind of expect at least that, because we are kind of expecting, Ocarina of Time. So,
Right.
if that is
And if it's
true,
not Ocarina of Time, maybe Twilight Princess, right? But
yeah, I would be happy with that too.
something I'm pretty sure something big Zelda is happening next
Yeah.
year.
So I
Something
mean,
big.
unless you're wanting to play Ocarina of Time, or maybe like, yeah, I don't know. What do you think would be the 2D game? I kind of would like Minish Cap,
But we did
uh,
just get a new 2D Zelda,
Phantom
so
Hourglass. But that's not available on Switch Online, anyways.
no, not yet.
No, Spirit Tracks would be
Um,
nice as well. And Link Between Worlds is my favorite 2D Zelda, so I would
I
love
do
to see
feel
that
like
come over.
Phantom Hourglass would have to be like remade.
Yeah, no, that'd be
Um,
full. The DS ones would have to be full from the
but I
ground up.
also wonder if they would even want to remake it because it's don't the game is touchscreen gameplay, and like how well is that going to translate to what we have on Switch? Like
Mouse
I mean,
controls, my
you
friend.
got
Mouse
mouse
controls.
controls or
I
maybe
think mouse controls works probably pretty good actually for that.
yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. Um,
Mouse controls, pointer controls. If you play on the go, you have an actual touchscreen. There's different ways.
maybe, but do you want to build a whole remake on it? Is what I'm wondering. I'm not sure. Um,
Maybe they just changed up the
I
controls
feel like
entirely.
I feel like a Minish Cap or a Link to the Past have a better chance, or even Zelda 1 or 2 have a better chance to be remade than Phantom Hourglass. But who knows? I mean, listen.
I mean, that is fair.
Um,
The game is not the most popular.
so
It's
I
not
don't
not
know.
popular, but it's
I mean,
among Zeldas. It's probably
yeah, but we also
lower
had
end.
another Code recollection, right? So like
There's a lot of niche
anything
stuff.
can happen. Yeah. I
Switch
don't
is
want to
kind
like
of a
say
king of
can't
that.
happen. But anyways, to answer Mr. Realshane's question, I don't like I agree with Brandon. I don't think you should be expecting like every Zelda game to be remade on Switch 2. A couple is maybe a reasonable expectation. But I look at the GameCube NSO app, right? And we're getting Wind Waker. It's not Wind Waker HD. I know Nintendo said that they could still give us Wind Waker HD down the line, and they might, but it's probably not coming out soon at this point if they just dropped Wind Waker on NSO. And I gotta say, I actually like what the GameCube, the kind of treatment GameCube NSO is offering, because not only are the games at a higher resolution now, which makes them look a lot cleaner and sharper, but they're also a lot more vibrant color wise as well. And so you look at these GameCube games in comparison to their originals, and it's a substantial visual upgrade. Now, Wind Waker on GameCube app next to Wind Waker HD, it's different because Wind Waker HD is widescreen.
Yeah,
Like we get Wind
yeah.
Waker on GameCube NSO is still 4:3. If it was widescreen and they had the fast sale improvement, I'd be like, hey, maybe just get the GameCube get the GameCube version. But they don't have those things.
Some people prefer how the GameCube looks, and I don't really prefer it, but I do in some very rare instances, and I do still like the option to play the original.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if it's your first time playing, would I recommend you play the GameCube version over finding some way to play the HD version? No. I would say find a way to play Wind Waker HD.
I don't know. I think it's fine, but just be aware that that they did make
I mean, it's
changes.
not going to be a bad
Yeah.
experience. I'm just saying,
It's
if you
still
can
a good
find a way to
game.
play Wind Waker HD, play that version. It plays
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. So yeah, Brandon, I think there's probably going to be some kind of big Zelda, maybe remake next year for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
And maybe we get more. I mean, we already have Wind Waker through NSO. One thing I think is clear: whatever Switch has right now is what Switch will keep. Will continue having. I don't think the Switch will get any other Zelda releases. So if you're kind of waiting on Switch One, what Switch One has is what it has. So
You don't
there's
think
that.
Switch One will ever get Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD?
No,
It doesn't seem like it.
no,
It's unfortunate.
not at this point. Listen, hey, listen. I think that
She's in neither of those games.
maybe if Wind Waker wasn't announced for GameCube NSO, I'd be like, hey, maybe, right? Like I think the door wouldn't be quite closed yet.
It does make it seem a lot.
Right.
a lot
And I just want to make sure, I want to make the important distinction here because I feel like I can be misinterpreted what I'm saying. I'm not saying Wind Waker HD can't happen, but what I am saying is timing wise, given that we just got Wind Waker for GameCube NSO, probably means Wind Waker HD is not coming out anytime soon, which puts it past the window for a Switch One release. Like I still think Switch One games will come, maybe for another year or two, but decreasingly less and less, right? The fact that Wind Waker has come to GameCube NSO, I think that kind of writes off any Wind Waker HD release coming to Switch 1. Switch 2, sure, it'll probably be Wind Waker 4K at that point, but definitely not Switch 1. I don't think so. Twilight Princess, I mean, I think Twilight Princess would also kind of happen alongside Wind Waker, so, you know,
right.
I
would think, but they have not announced it yet.
No. So basically, I think this is it. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. So yeah, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, even more interesting. Think about this for a moment. There still is only 2 games. Well, okay, there's 3 games that we know about that are kind. I don't know if does Pokemon Champions count as a Nintendo published title. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but regardless,
sure what that is,
in terms of Nintendo published titles slated for this year, because I don't think Champions doesn't have a release date. It's still just Prime 4 and Legends ZA, which both have Switch 2 versions, and it kind of seems like, listen, I'm getting the Switch 2 edition for both Pokemon and Prime 4, and Prime 4 is like the most. It's the best Switch 2 edition by far. Like clearly, they want they want to showcase Prime 4 as the Switch 2 edition. Like it's showcasing the resolution abilities, the performance abilities, and the mouse control abilities better than any other game on Switch 2. It's like, so the Switch 2 edition of Prime 4 is a big deal. Point is, those are the only 2 games that are coming to Switch 1. That's it for this year. They didn't announce anything else, and we're now approaching May. I'm not saying they won't announce anymore. I think they will, maybe in June, maybe sooner. But but it doesn't look like it's gonna be a lot. Like it's looking like the support is very light. Now we did just have a direct last year, last month, right? At this point, like 3 weeks ago, and they announced more games coming to Switch 1 in Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life, right? So like there are games coming, but it's just. It's a lot lighter than what it was, and so we're seeing an even lighter amount of content coming to Switch 1. I don't think the timing's there for Zelda. So what we have for Zelda on Switch 1, that is it. But I'm gonna move on unless you have some sort of extra detail to add there.
No.
Okay. Boo Mini has gifted a membership as well. Awesome. Really cool. Who is the winner of this membership? Who won? Miguel Lopez. You know what I want to do? I want to set up like the Jeopardy music or something every time someone wins a membership. That'll be a good idea. Awesome. And also, Fonto has become a YouTube member. Nice. Welcome. Glad to have you on board. Very cool. Okay. So I'm going to ask a couple questions, then we're going to get into our Mario Kart predictions. The MF52 asks, do you think we'll get a June Direct, or has the Direct schedule just changed completely? I actually do think we're getting a June Direct. I've been talking about it, like I've lightly brought it up. It's like a talking point in a lot of maybe like 2 or 3 videos I've made over the last few days. Yes, I think it's going to be a June Nintendo Direct.
I think with
I do not know. I've not been told that. I'm just it's pure 100% speculation. So we're clear.
I feel like the April 2nd Direct was kind of mainly focused around launch stuff, so they left themselves open for a lot more announcements towards the later end of the year and early next year.
And just think about it. Metroid Prime 4 doesn't have a release date. Legend ZA doesn't have only has fall, right? Drag Drive only has summer. So these are 3 big games that don't have any sort of like specific release date, right? The last game we have that has a specific release date is Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed World, August 28th. And that's a lighter Switch 2 edition game, you know?
It's got DLC.
Right. As I say that, I realize how confusing that might be. So let me clarify. Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed World is not nearly as big of a deal as Metroid Prime 4 or Pokemon Legends ZA.
How dare you? It's probably not. In terms of sales, no. In terms of being in my heart,
like it's not going to be the big release for August, is what I'm saying, right? Nah, it's going to be the secondary thing, right? Like the same way Mario Party Jamboree plus TV set is a secondary thing in July alongside Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like Bonanza comes out the 17th,
right.
TV set comes out the 24th of July. That's what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, I'm just messing with you because I'm really excited for that.
Well, let's be clear. Let me be extra clear. I'm probably gonna buy the DLC for Star-Crossed World because guess what? I have the game. I don't have to spend $80. I already spent $60 back in 2022. Yeah, 2022. So I just have to spend $20 to get the DLC. Yes. I want the game at 1440p 60 with a whole entire new campaign where all the maps have been remixed. Like, yeah, I want that. And it's only gonna be $20. So for me, it's gonna be worth it. Yeah.
That's one of my most hyped releases for the year, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be cool.
And it's just DLC, but it's DLC for one of my favorite Switch games.
It is good.
And 1440p 60 FPS, man, double the frame rate. More than double the resolution? Dang.
It's a pretty game. But getting back to the point, we need to know we don't have a release date for August outside of there's got to be another game for August is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's probably Drag Drive in my opinion. Maybe it's Prime 4. I doubt it's Prime 4. I think it's probably Drag Drive. Maybe there's something else that shall drop for Switch 1. I don't know. But we're basically at a point where late June is where Nintendo has given us the main directs over the last couple of months. And this is the beginning of a generation, right? This isn't like the last couple of years of Switch 1 where they're running out of things to announce. This is the time where it should be more dense with announcements, correct? And so once they get the launch out of the way, a few weeks removed from that, we're gonna be approaching the release for Donkey Kong Bonanza. They're going to want to give that a push. They're going to want to give us release dates for the rest of the summer and beyond. And that's not a pun, but it kind of works.
True.
And yeah, so I expect there to be the typical June Direct. And like I said, it's going to be a late June Direct as it has been happening over the last couple of years. There's a lot of announcements to be made. I do think I talked about this a couple of days ago. I do think there's at least one more big surprise for this year. My crazy theory is maybe not even that crazy. I think it's Luigi's Mansion 4 coming out this October.
Oh wow, that's pretty crazy. I mean, it's not impossible.
That's my crazy theory,
man.
I think it's Luigi. That's what I think. I think 3D Mario is going to come out a little bit later.
In a direct reaction. That'd have me.
Oh man,
yelling.
It would be so cool. It's just kind of like you look at the lineup. I think they need a little bit more. They need a little bit more
I agree.
to like come strong, right? Like Pokemon Metroid to be big, but they are still switched to edition games. They're not switched to exclusive games.
Yeah.
And so while they're big and they're going to be new, and I think the better versions and the more important versions are beyond Switch 2, they need another Switch 2 exclusive. And
Mhm.
you could say it probably should just be 3D Mario. I'm inclined to agree. But
I
the
really
rumors
hope
that there
so.
were rumors about Donkey Kong Bonanza not come. I mean, there were rumors about 3D Donkey Kong being in the Switch 2 Direct and that 3D Mario would not be this year. They were correct.
Right.
And from what we understand of Donkey Kong Bonanza, I mean, it's at least taken out some of the resources from the 3D Mario team. And so if that's the case, maybe we shouldn't expect 3D Mario to come out this holiday. But maybe it's still not
Yeah.
that far off. I've been speculating maybe we can still get it as soon as like March of 2026, right? So it closes out the fiscal year and it comes out right before the movie. It's still a part of the 40th anniversary celebration plans because they always trickle into the early part of the next year. But in the meanwhile, what we get is Luigi's Mansion 4 in October. And that would just, like, you think
Oh.
about it. We would have Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid Prime 4
Mhm.
Beyond, Pokemon Legends ZA, and Luigi's Mansion 4. 5 major releases to come out in the last 7 months of the year. I mean, we also would have Kirby Air Riders, which I think is pretty cool.
Yes.
Drag Drive, right? 4K versions of Breath and Tears, DLC for Kirby, DLC for Jamboree. Age of Imprisonment only has a winter release date, so I do not know if that makes it out this
Right.
year.
I kind of feel like
Could
that's gonna be a December title.
could be, it
Like in
might
that
be,
Xenoblade Chronicles
but
2 slot.
they didn't say winter 2025. They just said winter,
No,
so
that
it's
is
up
very
for
true.
debate. Um, and just for the record, there could be more, right? But I'm just sticking with at least one big title. There might be something smaller. Maybe it's 2 big titles,
Mhm.
but yeah. So and the other thing is that Next Level Games, their pattern of release does line up for another 2025 release. 2013 Dark Moon, 2016 Federation Force, 2019 Luigi's Mansion 3, and that was when they made the leap from 3DS to Switch HD, right? Like despite that
Right.
huge technology leap, that didn't cause any delays in their 3-year pattern, right? 2022 Strikers Battle League. Now we're in 2025, another major leap. Will they maintain the pattern? We shall see. Yeah. So point
I'd be
is,
happy for that for
they
sure.
they they need to announce something big, I think, in a summer direct. Maybe it's not late June, maybe it's early July instead. That's fine. Basically same difference, but I am expecting a Nintendo Direct this summer, late June, early July. I'm sticking with more likely late June, but I'm giving it a little bit of wiggle room because this is Nintendo and they can do whatever they want.
Very true.
Yeah. Connor in the chat. I'm so excited for both those 2 new Kirby games, but I have some predictions for both of those 2 Kirby games. Yeah, I mean, you've been talking about, Triple Deluxe and Robobot for the longest time. I don't even know where is Robobot. Robobot,
Yeah, where is that?
I don't know. I have. It's hard for me to believe that we're going to get Robobot, not Triple Deluxe, Robobot, Forgotten Land DLC, and Air Riders all in the same year. Feels hard to believe. Now,
Right.
Air Riders is probably. I don't think it's being made by HAL, so I don't know that.
I think Hal was credited during the trailer.
Studio like 2 and S or 1 and S, like the Bandai Namco team, like they're working on it from what I understand. But does HAL still have a say? Is really what I'm wondering, and I got to look into that.
I think I saw Hal mentioned in the trailer. Pretty sure I saw
Well,
their
if they were mentioned, then
logo pop up at some point during the trailer for that game.
and they
I could be
probably
wrong.
are. Yeah, they probably are. I mean, like, I'm just wondering if it's factored into their plan.
Right. I
And I
mean, these
mean,
all are probably done by different teams. Like all
yeah,
3 of these projects would
absolutely.
be done by different people. So it's possible they could all come out this year. And
I mean,
we have had years where Kirby just has an insane amount of things come out before. Especially in like the 3DS, late 3DS era, there was just a ton of Kirby
man,
constantly.
Looking at these trailers on my new monitor is really nice.
No, I bet.
Yeah. So it doesn't say in the trailer. I bet it's on the website though.
Okay.
If it's anywhere. I mean, it's possible it could have dropped in an interview somewhere. There's a lot of stuff that I still haven't gotten a chance to sift through. Wow, this looks great. This screen is crazy. I can't show you. Me screen sharing won't do it justice.
No.
I can screen share, but it still won't do it justice. You won't be seeing what I'm seeing. Or will you? Actually, it's pretty wide. You can see my dimensions at least. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Also, I
Okay.
found out where it says HAL Laboratory at the end of the trailer. When it pops up 2025, it says Nintendo, Sora,
Really?
and / HAL Laboratory Incorporated.
I didn't see that.
Yep.
Guess I'm blind.
You're blind, son. I was just like, I'm pretty sure I did see it. So
I
I went back and I
didn't
checked
plug in.
myself. Yep,
I didn't
there it
plug in my Ethernet, so I'm worried that if I play this video, it will lag.
Ah,
But I mean, I should still be able to see the screenshot. Is it lagging?
no.
Okay. So it's at the end, right?
Yeah, it's like the very last second. Right.
There. Okay. That's it. It's this little thing that my brain just didn't look at. Sora, but it doesn't even say Bandai Namco, right? But apparently Bandai Namco is working on it. So I don't know. Either way, it's not even that big of a deal. It's just
No.
okay. Do they consider Air Riders as part of like the Kirby slate of content for the year? Probably, to an extent.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway,
But if they do want something for Kirby for Switch 1, maybe they do still come out with it this year. Who knows?
let's put up an interesting poll as we are about to enter our Mario Kart World predictions. Most likely Mario Kart World Direct announcement. Expansion Pass. Battle Royale Battle Mode. That would actually, yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I actually talked about like last week on a live stream, and now everyone's talking about it, but it's not me that popularized it, so no one knows that I started talking about it first.
I was talking about it before it was cool, I swear.
It's fine. Expansion Pass, Battle Royale, Battle Mode. What else? Oh, non-Mario characters included. Like Link. I can't. It's too long of a sentence. Other Nintendo characters. I don't know. Just say not. I should say non-Mario characters, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound. Just not. It's an uncool way of saying it. Non-Mario universe characters.
There you go.
All right. What's a good fourth one? By the way, these aren't necessarily my predictions. These are just things I think people are going to commonly be considering. More tracks.
More tracks.
Well, I mean, expansion pass might be that, but also
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
Similar.
Oh, okay. All right. Here's one. Single player campaign.
Ah, yes. I was about to say
That's
that.
a popular one. All right, here we go. Ah, crud. Hold on.
Ah, shoot.
I misspelled the
Ah, dang, nabbit.
I said most like. I mean most likely.
Oh, dang.
I mean most likely. I put most like Mario Kart World Direct announcement. I think a point has been made, but how? Whatever, man. Whatever, man.
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Actually, Bruno, Francisco, you're right. Okami is probably the most likely announcement during the Mario Kart World Direct.
Oh yeah. Okami 2
They
collab.
may not have been joking about that. They may have just meant like Okami would be cool. They can, I mean, yeah, it's
Oh,
also
like as a character.
I don't. Oh, this character. Oh, wow. That's next
That'd
level.
be crazy.
That is next level. That's
I mean,
like
why
not even
else talk about Okami during a
that's
Mario
beyond
Direct?
non-Mario universe. That's beyond
That's beyond
non-Nintendo
Nintendo.
universe. Like
Yeah.
oh man.
This
We're getting-
Smash Kart.
Yeah. Fonto asks me, will Sony port any games to Switch 2? Which would you like to see?
We already
I would
saw
love
Sony announce games technically during the Switch 1 Direct because 2 Sony IP were announced during that Direct.
Were they? Which ones?
I don't recall because they were not very big games, but it is true.
Well, how do you know that then? You saw it on Twitter or something?
No. I saw
How do you know?
I just know. No, I did see it on somewhere, but I don't.
Hold on,
it was like a
Googled it.
video or
I
something.
Googled it.
It wasn't
I Googled
Twitter.
it. Yes, 2 Sony PlayStation exclusive IPs, Potapon and Everybody's Golf are coming to Nintendo.
I think I saw it on Nintendo Live or something.
Well, I just read it, so there you go. So this is
But yes, it is true.
Potapon 1+2 Replay and Everybody's Golf Hot Shots.
That's what. Yes.
Okay, so that is interesting. I do vaguely remember those. I didn't realize they were Sony IP, but
I didn't either till after, and I was
Yeah.
told, and I looked back at the trailers, and it says Sony. On
Yeah.
in the
and we got Horizon Lego
Mm-hmm.
of just a few months ago.
Yes.
Now none of these are like big brand new Sony
No.
IP. I mean, Horizon is a relatively new IP. Lego is a new
Yes.
thing. But it was Lego, right?
Yes. Very much a spin-off, and then these are dead IPs.
What I would
essentially.
like to see, Horizon on Switch 2.
Hey, that'd be big. That'd be big.
That'd be crazy.
Could have a good
Especially
version.
if it looks
Have
and
a
runs
good
better
version.
than the PS4 version.
I imagine they would go off of the PS5 remaster and kind of like scale that.
Whatever it is, as long as it looks better than the PS4 version.
That would look better. Yes.
Unless
It would include a lot of upgrades to the engine that
You know, it'd be hilarious.
came from the second game.
Sony does. They actually do. They bring in. They do port over a version of Horizon, maybe from the PS5 version, whatever, over to Switch 2. But they make sure it's running at a terrible resolution. It performs poorly, so they can say, "Ha ha! See, it's weaker than PS4." That would be diabolical. But
That would
also,
be wild.
I think if they did do that, and I don't think they would, but if they did do that, the truth would come out. Like, yeah, it would be a talking point for the week or whatever. Like, oh, see, Switch 2 is too weak, right? But like the moment we see another third-party game that's like clearly more impressive or on par with Horizon, like on Switch 2, looking and running even better, they'll be like, okay, so Sony just botched it, right? Yeah, I mean, you could already argue that, right? We have Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That's it. Job's done. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Job's done. Both those games look and run the PS4 versions. So, yeah. But it would be funny. Anyway. Where were we? Yeah. Okay, I see where the poll's going. Paladin. Helldivers 2 on Switch 2 wouldn't be surprising. Helldivers 2 on Switch 2 would be
That'd be
really,
a very good option, actually.
Yeah, I
I
like
could
that.
see that.
Mouse controls, game chat support. Yeah.
That was a day and date PC release for Sony. So maybe they do bring
crossplay
that
as
to
well.
Xbox and Switch.
Crossplay plus all that, like that.
Mm.
I really like the idea. It's a good idea. So got the super chat here, and then we're gonna jump into our predictions. Boomini, what Zelda games do you think will be coming out in 2026 and 2027? Thank you for the super chat. So,
Good question.
Brandon, let's say it on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Ocarina of Time
Ocarina of
remake.
Time remake.
Blah 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 blah.
Ebida,
Yeah.
ebida.
Yeah. So we think that's coming out in 2026.
Yes.
2027,
Hmm.
maybe 2D Zelda.
Huh. I would. That'd be nice. It'd be very, very soon. But it's also like, I mean, you gotta expect it to not be as big of a gap as last time, right? Because last time was a 10-year gap. So like, hopefully, it's not gonna be another 10 years since we see another 2D Zelda. But I would be a little shocked. Although,
What else do you
Echoes
put
of
in
Wisdom is a
2027?
very unique 2D Zelda, so maybe they had a more traditional one that they were already kind of workshopping along, side
They could
that.
start it off as a remake, and then they decided to make it into a new thing.
So maybe they have a remake that they could come out with in 2027, or maybe they have a more traditional. I would like to see a more traditional 2D Zelda for the next one because it has been like, we did get Echoes of Wisdom. It's not
Actually, that
exactly
makes
the
that
same.
does make sense. Like we haven't had a new 2D Zelda starring as Link, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. And you probably meant traditional, like gameplay wise.
Yeah, but I mean, starring Link and just would be a lot more traditional in
I mean, I
general.
feel like Echoes of Wisdom does a good job of kind of incorporating a lot of the typical traditional stuff.
I haven't played it
Yeah,
yet. I'm waiting for Switch 2 because like
and
I
it
can't
is going to
stand
get
the
a
variable
free.
performance.
It's going to get a free
Yes,
enhancement. Yeah,
good.
yeah,
I did know about that, but
yeah,
I'm excited. I think that version's gonna be really, really good.
yeah. So I think. I mean, I feel like there's going to be something Zelda in 2027. I don't think there's just nothing.
Yeah,
And we're
maybe
getting
2D remake seems more realistic in my mind. I would love personally. I would love to see Link Between Worlds brought over because that is my favorite 2D Zelda, but I would also really, really like Minish Cap. That's my second choice. I don't think either of those are necessarily the most likely ones, but those are my first and second personal favorites to bring over.
What came out in 2018 for Zelda?
Nothing potentially. I don't
No, I
recall.
think there was something. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably it. Yeah.
yeah. The thing is, we're getting Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment now, right? And that might even trickle into 2026, early 2026. I mean, maybe Ocarina of Time remake doesn't come out until 2027. Maybe.
I would hope not.
Yeah, I
We'll
would
see.
hope not too. The Zelda. Well, the thing is, the Zelda movie comes out in April 2027. So
Right.
I think that kind of impacts things a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they tease the next 3D Zelda, like they actually show us some gameplay of the next new 3D Zelda in 2027.
That would be hype.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean
they
that's
can even do it next
conceivable.
year. They could do it at any point, really. Like,
Yeah.
but I feel like
Yeah.
if we're getting a big remake in 2026, like you don't need to, you
No.
know.
I think
So,
2027 would be a good time to
right.
tease it.
And the other thing is, like, if we're gonna get like a Luigi's Mansion 4, right, and 3D Mario is gonna come out early next year, like they're gonna have a lot of things like that. They're not gonna need to use 3D Zelda immediately. I mean, we just got 4K Breath and Tears and Wind Waker some D on GameCube.
I mean,
And
technically, it's in HD.
like
Not in
Zelda
full
actually,
HD, but
there
it's in
were
HD.
4 Zelda announcements in the Switch 2 Direct. So for those that are saying, "Oh, there's nothing Zelda," there was 4 Zelda announcements in the Switch 2
Quite a
Direct.
lot of Zelda.
Yeah, there was more Zelda announcements than there were Mario, technically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little tricky, but I think remake and a 2D Zelda offering make a lot of sense. But the movie news and also, whatchamacallit, okay, my brain is confused. So no, okay, yeah, the movie comes out early 2027. I was mixing it with the Zelda
Yes.
one, with the Mario one. Yeah. But yeah, movie news in 2026 with a remake, I think late into the year, maybe a holiday release. The movie comes out 2027. Maybe later into the year, we get a 2D Zelda. At the very least, we get a teaser for the next new 3D Zelda afterwards, a few months later. Yeah, I think it would be a new 2D Zelda just because if we just got a remake for 3D Zelda, they have a 3D remake and a 2D remake. Maybe it's just another like Zelda spin-off. It's not even it's not a remake of
I
anything.
would
It's
love a
not 2D Zelda.
multiplayer game.
Like, yeah, just give us like something different that isn't Warriors. I like the idea of another Zelda spin-off, but the Warriors, personally, tired of it. If you guys noticed, I haven't made any videos about Age of Imprisonment.
I've literally never played any of the Warriors games. They've always been like, I've looked at them, but like, these look kind of interesting, but not enough for me to pay full price for them. I've just never gone around to playing them.
Yeah. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'll never make a video about Age of Imprisonment. I probably will eventually get to making at least one at some point, maybe more. But for now, it's on the back burner is my main point. Anyway, let's get into our predictions. So,
Cool.
what do you predict?
Oof. Where do we start? This is interesting one for me because at first I couldn't really think of like anything because they've shown a lot of content and it feels very fleshed out. But there's a couple of things where I'm like, wait, hold on, we still haven't seen like a battle mode or what kind of single player content there is. So, I am gonna predict my first prediction is that there is more to the open world than they've shown. I think there's gonna be little things to find, little achievements to do, little tricks that you can do to get achievements. Like different little things you can find around the world that make free roam a little more worth doing.
Well, I want to dig deeper on this because that's a really safe prediction because it's already been confirmed.
What?
It has.
I don't know. Okay. What
Okay.
did they confirm? Maybe there's. I didn't watch all of the treehouse footage for the game because there was so much.
I know. There's a lot that we've
So
been overanalyzing. So,
because I haven't seen anything on this.
I know you. I'm trying to think what I can show you.
But if they've already shown that, I'm even more confused why they're even doing a direct.
Well, it's more so like we've seen evidence of it rather than it's been announced.
Okay.
So, for example, we have this thing, right? You see,
I love the mini map. Like it's just almost like an overhead view.
It's an overhead 3D view, which is very interesting.
It's almost like somebody's taking like a drone and just like looking straight down.
Yeah, like that's actually like pretty demanding. Like to have it's two different perspectives of the map, and this is not a 2D thing. Game's running at 60, maybe 120. We don't know. I presume 1440p, not 4K, but like I
think that's what the pixel counts have come out to so far.
And open world, which is all wild. But anyways, here's a P-switch.
Yeah.
There's also item blocks and a special coin. I'm trying to remember where I can I think I took a screenshot of it somewhere, but I don't remember where I did it. I don't know what I named it as, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. That's always the tricky thing.
If I check my documents, maybe I could go by the date,
Right.
Maybe. Although I don't think they'd be under this. Oh my goodness. So when I save a snapshot, where does it go? I'm trying to
go to a folder in forget where. Pictures, right? It should be under pictures and screenshots, right? That's where mine goes anyways. And then
I'm opening. I just did a snapshot just to see. Yeah, it's under pictures. Okay, so if I go date modified without putting a date, it should show me in order my screenshots, and I don't have anything. I guess I never took a screenshot. I just had like video evidence. It was in the treehouse.
I believe you.
Yeah, I know you believe me, but I want to show people.
I know.
I think I remember which treehouse segment actually. I think it was the day 2 one. No. I'm not sure. Well, okay, let me just share this. Am I screen sharing? I am, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's not the thing you want, I think.
Okay.
There we go.
Man, this looks so good.
Yeah. It's a good looking game.
I think there's when we get to free roam, we can see some things. Okay. A little bit more. All right, so I think in a second here they're going to show some stuff. All right. Man, this game looks so good. I'm just like enjoying looking at it. So at some point if they show the map, I think you'll see it. But if you pay attention, you'll see it. You can find P switches and other items. Look at that. Look at that. You see right there on the mini map?
Oh yeah.
That's a question block. So this mini map will help you identify things and also look straight ahead of you. Right? You can't see the mini map yet. You should be about to, but over here, straight ahead, is the P switch.
Yes.
Yeah. So continuing to play. I
wonder if you can actually use the goggles there. Probably not.
Goggles?
Yeah, but like, if you back up just a half second on the right side.
I feel like I should go back just like 5 seconds. And where are the goggles?
It's right there in between the buildings on the right.
Oh, this.
Yeah. You probably can't use that, but that's like something you can use on, I think, Odyssey.
Maybe you can, Brandon. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it feels like the answer, like no, but there's nothing indicating you can. But
right,
I mean,
it doesn't look like something you would interact with. But maybe.
And notice how you can see the P switch here now, right? You can't see it because of the elevation from here, but we did see it earlier. So there's a P switch. And there it is, obviously. Here you can see coins on the mini map, and you can also see them there. The coins are obvious, right? I don't know. Oh, there's another coin block supposedly right there.
Oh yeah.
Can we see it though? Actually.
I don't think we can see the top of the.
So, well, actually, I think it's on top of this building here. Yeah, it might just be like a floor panel or something. Oh, because you can hop now, right? So remember in like 2D Mario, there are the invisible blocks, right?
Yeah.
And so when you jump up, they activate, right? And so it may be something like that where it's invisible until you get there and you hop. And so this is something that you actually have to use a mini map to find.
Oh.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
Yeah. Actually, oh, here we go. There we go. So we got the P switches that we saw. We have the question mark blocks. And we also have this coin you see here in the bottom left.
Coins.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a peach coin, and so those are somewhere in the map. So there are some collectibles already.
Oh man, yeah, and when they scroll over that, you see like different question marks. What is that?
So
that one has like different Marios. Do you have to like find the costumes to unlock them or something?
I have a theory on that actually. So I've seen in the gameplay, like if you accidentally transform into something, because you can either get a food bag which will transform you, or if Kamek can
Right.
randomly transform you into a random character.
I have
When
seen
that
that.
happens, I've seen that, but I've also seen like a red exclamation point sometimes when it happens, and to me that says, "Oh, this is your first time using this." So I
Okay.
think you may unlock it when that happens.
Right.
And then once it's on, and then once it's unlocked, you can still get randomly transformed into that afterwards, but you also can pick it later on. That's my theory
Hmm.
on it because we've seen the exclamation point. I covered it in a video a few days ago.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Anyway, I
I
think we
bet there are hidden ones you can only find in free roam, and you can't find during like the normal just being on the tracks. Because there are
need
some you can just get on the track, like
like
food.
transformations. I don't
Yeah.
maybe transformations, but there's definitely those three collectible items already. So yeah, we have that.
Right.
Yeah. And this hasn't been lagging at all for you. It's been easy to follow.
I mean, it's been a little choppy, but it's been perfectly like understandable.
Okay. All right, cool. Anyway, so point is, we do know there are some collectibles in free roam already. Have you seen the dragons?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man, I gotta
Dragons.
show you the dragons.
Yeah, I want to see the dragons.
Oh
Show me the
man, you
dragons.
haven't seen the dragons. You haven't been watching the Mario Kart analyses videos. How dare you? I'm not actually.
I'm sorry, I'm a fake fan.
You fake fan. Brandon's getting canceled. Get this guy out of here.
We need a new
Oh
co-host. I'm not
man,
worthy.
dude. Oh, I can't wait to. I can't. No, it's fine. I'm actually kind of like happy about this because I get to see your reaction live.
Hell yeah.
Um.
I like dragons.
Oh, this is gonna be so exciting. Chat. Have you guys seen the dragons? Tell me. Come on. Who's been doing their research?
Come on.
Who's
Come
been
on.
watching these treehouse events at nauseum? All right, here we go. So they're gonna do a little bit more free roam here, right? Like I'm kind of want to like build it up a little bit for you. Like I don't even want to like show you immediately. I want you just like whoa, like they're showing this free roam stuff, right? And I mean, just notice the mini map. Like it's like dynamic, like or that's the wrong word.
Yeah, no,
Real time.
it's
It's like
very cool.
yeah. And look, there are achievements of some kind, right? You just achieved 300 kilometers, and so
Yeah.
yeah, at some point you're gonna see. I mean, I could fast forward a little bit.
I mean,
I
it
think
makes sense.
so. What's interesting is I did watch all this stuff in 4K, but like on my television in my living room, right?
Hmm.
It's one thing to look at a 4K TV that's across the living room. It's another to look at a screen that's right in front of you.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so I'm kind of getting like a new visual experience of this. And it looks really good. So I'm just fast forwarding a little bit here. All right, here we go. Look. What do you see in the there are just freaking dragons,
oh my
bro.
gosh, he's huge.
And it's not the only one. There's another one over there.
Oh, hell yeah. No, that's dope.
This is just in the overworld. If you try
I
and
love that
go
sun.
out
It's
there,
so beautiful. So they're
right?
like guarding the edge of the map, or what? Like,
I
what
don't
is
know.
their
That's
deal?
my theory that like
Because
they if
that's
you want
way
to
out
try and
there.
like you want to try and leave the boundaries, these dragons are be like, nope, you can't do that.
You may not go.
Like that's gonna be like one of
You
it
shall
might
not
be the first thing I
pass.
do in free roam.
No,
I don't.
I
That's
want to
the
go see
crazy
what
thing
that.
about free roam. Like I might want to just explore
What
more than I
happens if
want
you
to
go
race.
attack them with shells? Can you take them out?
I don't know. I assume no, but there's a lot
There's
of
a
things you can do in
camera.
this game.
The camera's
Yeah,
pretty
camera
nice.
mode's not that bad.
No, there's not a lot of Nintendo games that have camera modes like that. Surprisingly enough, even though you can just take screenshots with the button on the controller. You think there'd be more photo modes in games?
Yeah. The Let's Make show is saying those aren't dragons.
I mean, they're
They're
serpents of
sea
the deep.
serpents.
It depends on. They're not
And
dragons in the typical like
mean,
Western dragons. They're more like
they're more like
Eastern.
They're more like Mario Chinese dragons.
Yes.
I mean, we do see them in Mario Wonder. Yeah,
These aren't your Game of Thrones dragons. These are,
yeah.
different.
And
There's a
so
lot
we're
of different
clear.
dragons.
I'm not confusing the little like anglerfish that was there to the left. We're not
No.
talking about the anglerfish.
No,
We're
no,
talking
no,
about
no.
the giant serpentine creatures that were dragons. Dragons don't have to have legs.
Yeah. Nope.
I mean, I guess you could call them sea serpents, right? Which sea serpents are oftentimes considered to be dragons. But
It just depends on
yeah.
your definition of dragon, which is not a very strict definition to begin with.
Yeah. Guffaw says the Wonder have tiny legs close to the body. Now I'm like, all right, well, are these technically dragons? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I get a pretty good look at them when I'm like looking at them in 4K. Actually, I don't think that technically, like computer monitors don't really go to 4K, right? They go to 1440p.
Some do, but most are 1440p. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at it again. I guess I might as well just share it with you guys again. But
1440p is a more reasonable resolution, honestly, in my opinion.
you're reasonable. All right, so I don't see any legs. I see no evidence of legs. So they are sea serpents.
Show me the legs.
Same. Oh, by the way, I thought there was 2 dragons. That's 1 dragon or a sea serpent. It's a dragon, bro. I don't care. Or fish, whatever. It looks like a dragon. That
That's
I
not a
thought was a
second
dragon. That is just.
Oh, is it not?
That is just a structure.
Oh, I thought that was the second
Yeah,
one. Too.
yeah.
I guess it's not. It wouldn't be moving.
Yeah, unless it's dead. So. Yeah, I mean maybe there's tiny legs or something, but that's not evident from what I saw.
No.
Anyway, so coming back, like we kind of touched on some things we can see in free roam. You think they're going to expand on it more so? They do tease that there's more to free roam
Yes.
than what's been shown so far. So, what might that be?
I'm curious what the P switches would do. I assume they unlock different, like, routes and stuff. Like, maybe they make different things appear with, like, grind rails and such. And go to different places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, typically, what do they do in Mario games? The, like, blue coins or whatever that appear?
Oh, the P switch, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's normally blue coins, yeah.
But it'd be kind of... I mean, maybe it's like a blue coin challenge. Like a little mini blue coin challenge that you complete. But it'd be kind of strange. I don't know.
It could also be like almost like an obstacle course. Like you hit the switch and then you have to like race. I mean, maybe it is blue coins and you have to hit the blue coins. It's kind of like the goal is to hit every single blue coin, right? And you have to race along a certain path and a certain time limit to get those blue coins. And so if you miss, you have to redo the challenge.
Yeah, I think they could make that interesting.
Yeah.
Just the first
some of those
thing
blue
that
coins,
it
doesn't have to be straight lines either. It could be like,
no, because the way the map
there,
works, they could have you grinding on all kinds of stuff. It would be cool if it was like made it feel kind of like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, trying to get all the different like collectibles and stuff throughout the map, doing crazy tricks to get up to different places. That'd be cool. But like, how do I even? You see a blue coin appear in part of the challenge. You're like, how do I even get up there? You gotta like figure it out. That'd be fun. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
At first, I was just thinking like just having them like on the ground and just like having to collect them. And I'm like, oh, that's lame. But no, that's as like a challenge, like a time-based thing. If they do like cool routes and stuff, they could do a lot of cool stuff with that.
Mm-hmm. Rico Lee mentions.
Not sure what the coins would be. Oh, what is he mention?
Well, Rico Lee mentions how that some creators have talked about how with big vehicles you can jump in and smash through barriers and stuff. Like if you look at the trailer,
really?
Yeah, Birdo goes into the truck and she smashes the median, like the side barrier. She just
Oh, okay.
destroys it.
That's cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, no, the environments are at least semi-destructible. Like some little things, if you have a powerful enough of a force, you can destroy it.
That's cool.
There are boats you can
I've
get
seen
into
some
as
stuff
well.
like light poles and stuff.
Yeah, that stuff can break. And also
Cones.
there are some big enemies in this game. Sometimes Kamek will summon them. So there are, it's not just small enemies. There are big enemies. There are Goombas that run really fast and chase at you. So there's a lot more. Yeah, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's Goomba. There's a Goomba that can run as fast as a cart.
I seen
Yeah,
that like in some of the artwork, but I didn't know what that was. I've never seen that
like
in the game itself.
well, like Goomba is a racer as well.
Right, but I seen him in some artwork outside of like not in a cart, and I was like, "What's with that?"
Yeah, that's probably when he's an enemy. Like right,
Right.
just going to the website here. There's actually, funny enough, there's two Goombas. A Goomba here, a Goomba there. I don't know if one of that's a mistake, but I think it's the only repeated character. Well, we have multiple Toads. There is two blue Toads. Got these flying Koopas over here. You got these guys. The thing is, these are racers, so that's why I'm like, that's a little weird. Look, Monty Mole.
Yeah, they have a crazy cast of characters in this one.
It is so wild, so cool.
You know, for another prediction,
Yeah.
I'm gonna predict that for at least the base game, and possibly even the DLC, there will be only Mario characters, because they seem to be going into the depths to bring out all the wackiest, craziest, random Mario characters. And I just, I feel like they're gonna focus on giving you some characters you wouldn't expect, and they're not gonna have, like Link or Villager or anybody else.
I mean,
at least not in the base game.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe some
I'm inclined
costumes
to
to
agree.
reference them.
I'd rather just not even worry about them until I get the real thing. To be honest with you, I hated the amiibo costumes.
Oh, really? I thought they were
yeah.
neat.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, we're not going to give you the real thing, even though it would be like minimal effort for us. Here's an amiibo costume instead. Like, seriously, like, it's not like in Smash Brothers, like, it requires like a lot of development because you have to, like, play test and see how that character works with literally everything else in the game, right? You have to come up with this unique moveset and interaction and stuff. And especially in this Mario Kart, it's a little bit more nuanced, right? Because they have some more interesting facial expressions and stuff and things.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, it's not that sophisticated compared to Smash. But especially prior Mario Kart 8, how much work does it really take them to make a Star Fox model in Mario Kart? Like, how much?
Yeah, I mean, relatively, it's probably not that much.
It's extremely minimal. I don't really. By the way, you were wondering about look at there's a Goomba right there chasing Peach.
Ah, yeah, that's the art I've seen.
Yeah. So,
I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw something,
mhm.
art or screenshot or something.
Yeah. Website looks so good too. I love all the costumes that you can wear.
Yeah. I've always. I mean, I was saying this when we were talking about Mario Kart, in some other podcast at some point after the Switch 2 reveal trailer, that I wanted to like some more like costumes or like different things for the characters that because we saw the more expressiveness and
right.
I've been saying things like like we don't see them in like Mario Party either. It's like older Mario Party games, when you go to the cowboy board, you put on a cowboy outfit. It was dope. And I wanted to see more stuff like that. That's an Odyssey outfit, right?
I mean that's a shirt from Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's an unlockable in Odyssey as well.
It might be. I don't remember. I don't feel like this exact costume is in Odyssey.
It's probably slightly different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of something in Odyssey.
There is definitely like a beach mode Mario. There's even like a shirtless Mario.
Oh yeah.
But what I just want to bring up the hat. It's not here, but I actually saw during the treehouse after the rain, you saw the water like wet Mario's hat. Like you would see like it gets slowly more and more drenched. Like you know how like when your clothes get
That's
drenched,
cool.
it gets a little darker, right?
Mhm.
And you can kind of see it spread, the darkness spread. I saw that on Mario's hat when it started raining.
Right.
That
That's
I don't,
dope.
I've never seen anything like that in a game. So that's just crazy. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I should give you a prediction.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't have any. I don't have. Okay, I got one prediction for you. I think we're gonna see battle mode.
Okay.
And I do think that battle mode is gonna be very different. I think it kind of has to be because
Right.
this game takes place in this open world, right? It's not
Mhm.
arenas, you know, it's not tracks that are closed off. It's all open. And so I think they're going to have to think of an interesting way to implement battle mode within this open world, which is where I think that ultimately a lot of people kind of sort of start to see how a battle royale like concept makes more sense. Because how do
Right.
you make battle mode interesting in an open world, right? So I think, you know, they may start considering different ways because let's remind ourselves, battle mode has multiple modes now, right? It's not just, oh, just hit each other when you have balloons. It's like the shine runners, there's the
Yeah.
bomb on thing, there's a coppers thing, there's a lot of different like stuff. I'm not saying, I don't know, maybe they'll try and like find a way to incorporate all those different things, but I feel like they're just going to come up with something different for battle mode. And I'm actually really interested in this because I personally have not ever really loved battle mode, at least lately. I liked it.
Heretic.
I liked it in Mario 64. I mean Mario Kart 64 as a little kid, but even then I didn't play it that much.
How dare.
But I can see a battle mode being redone to fit into this open world, and that could be super interesting. Like imagine if it was like a battle royale mode where it's
Mhm.
different teams. All right, I mean, I know we get 24. I would love it if they could fit more into the open world. Like if they do like 4 different teams of 24, something tells me that that's not going to happen. Um, but you know,
I'm
if
curious
it
how
could,
a
be
battle
crazy.
royale would work because, like, are you racing? Because they have elimination, which is essentially sort
Knockout
of the
tour, yeah,
same thing.
yeah, knockout rally, yeah.
Yeah. So that's I'm curious what would make this different from that, essentially. Because that is kind of you're going through the open world, you know, less and less people over a
Well,
course.
what if it's kind of like the map changes in battle mode, right? Where like, what if like the tide rises and the tide, you cannot like that. There's something different about the water. You know, what if it's like a spooky mode? You know, like
I'm just curious,
they would
when
have to
you
do something
get
very
to,
different,
like, say, the final circle, what do
right?
you do to win? Do you like, how
And
do you lose? Do you if you get hit by
so,
something, are you just out? Like, how does this work?
well, the thing is, I don't know, right? But what I'm kind of getting at is that it might be more than one thing. They would
Okay.
just come up with different styles of play. So here's one idea. Like maybe it's not, maybe even battle royale is not necessarily the best way to look at it. But like what if it's
Mm,
like a have you ever played Manhunt as a kid? Like it's basically like
Manhunt.
team hide and seek.
I don't think so, but I can imagine.
Okay. So
So,
imagine,
like, prop
all
hunt?
right, I'm literally going to explain to you how I think this would work.
Okay.
Imagine you have 24 people online, right? You're in the map, okay? And they would probably have to think of something to like kind of keep it more contained. So maybe there's like a moving like circle or something. So if you fall out the circle, you get
Mhm.
eliminated. So there might be a little bit of that element, right? But it starts off as one person who can do whatever they want, and then you tag somebody, and then they join your team, right? So it's 23
Okay.
versus one, and then that
Oh, okay.
one can continue to tag others and they join their team, right? And so in this scenario for a game, for there to be a winner, there have to be a time limit. So you would have to survive,
Mhm.
right, before one team overpowers the other.
Okay.
Like
That could
that's
be
one
fun.
thing they could do, right? So there would be the two important things that would need to be done. One, there have to be a time limit because that otherwise it would take too long, right?
Mhm.
And then
Right.
two, right? I think that the map would have to be contained a little bit more, and it wouldn't be in the sense that the open world would be gone, but I think the idea of like a moving sort of like availability, maybe
Yeah.
how they distinguish that, maybe it's some sort of crazy like violent storm that sucks you up or something like
Right.
that's something
So
they
you
could do.
mentioned the tides rising earlier, but then I remember you could just ride on the water.
They
It would
would
need to
have
be some sort of like
the
storm.
water would have to no longer be normal water. It would have to
Yeah.
become lava or something, right? So that's one idea. Another idea, let's say it's not so much like a battle royale or a team it is a team thing, but it's player versus enemy. And
Okay.
so there are enemies chasing you and you are all working together to survive.
Hmm.
So you're being hunted. Like
Okay.
imagine if there are just boos chasing you, right? So they changed the entire map to like thundery rainy, right? It's nighttime, right? So those are things they can easily control because there's already a weather system and a nighttime system, right? So in this particular mode, it's like scary, rainy, spooky, like there's clouds, right? And there are different
Right.
undead or ghost enemies chasing you, right? So it's and the idea is to survive, right? They turn it into a horror mode, right? In a sense, obviously, it wouldn't
Cool.
be like too scary because this is Mario Kart, right? You'd be getting chased by dry bones, and booze, but you got tagged, you're out. Maybe you even become a boo, or
Ooh.
or dry bones, right? And it could even be in a cart. That's fine. It would be kind of somewhat similar. If you remember Mario Kart 64, when you would die, you would become a bomb that could drive, and if you hit
Oh
someone,
yeah.
you'd get rid of one of their balloons. It could be something like that.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's another thing they could do with the battle mode, right? So like I think there are unique like different concepts they can come up with that take advantage of the open environment.
Mhm.
That would be a total rethinking of battle mode. And personally, if it's anything like what we've discussed so far, I'd be all in. I think we could play that all night, and it'd be a great time.
I think it could be fun. I do really, really, really like Mario Kart 8's battle mode, and I am. Hmm. I wonder. I don't know how I would imagine battle mode without taking a long time, honestly, to stop and like think about it. But I I don't know if I only want battle royale kind of modes for Mario Kart. Like I think those would be fun, but I'm not sure. I might still end up considering Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's battle mode to be my personal favorite,
I
if
mean,
that ends up being the case.
do you think there's a way to just bring back traditional battle mode within this? Like,
I think they could. It would be kind of weird in the context of the rest of the modes, where pretty much every mode is like this seamless world. You would kind of need to make like levels based off of the different areas that you go to in the game.
I think if
Um,
you turn into an arena, like
yeah,
that's
if you
fine.
like close off some parts and like kind of change it up to where make it more like its own like dedicated arena for the battle mode, and then you can do that for like all the different locations. That I think that could work, and then you could use that for kind of the more traditional modes and have maybe a battle royale type mode as well. I would like to see that, but I kind of fear that they're not going to because that would be kind of the most antithetical mode to like the concept of the game.
So here's another idea: team boss fights.
Ooh, that would be fun.
And
That would actually be really fun.
we have new mechanics now, right? Because we can the way we can jump, right? We can jump on rails to
Hmm.
walls and do all that stuff. You have more like things
Yeah,
you can do in the air, right? So imagine like you're
you could
fighting
even like grind or wall climb
if they
on a
design a
creature
boss
or
around it.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And you could go
like
for a
some.
bonk, or you can kind of like tilt to the side and then slam them, right? Or you just
Mm-hmm.
you do a quick 180 turn and you shoot them with a shell, right? And
I
then
could have
so
some
they
like
could have like
Shadow of the
a one.
Colossus stuff where you're scaling parts of it by grinding on it and stuff.
Yeah. And maybe the boss is kind of on the run, throughout the
Uh-huh.
map.
Uh-huh.
So, and it's a team thing, right? Like if you don't help out, well, I mean, obviously you lose. So I really
I think
like the
yeah.
idea. My concern, right, as we talk more about this stuff, right, is that if you're doing more team-based things with 24 people and you have this entire open world, if you just decide to just drive off and not help, that will kind of suck. And so my fear would be is that they'll scale down the difficulty because they take that into account. And so you'll be able to just beat the bosses just to help with 6 people as opposed to 24. So I hope there's a balancing act done where it's not just a cakewalk every time. Like I feel like this
Right.
with the balance in Splatoon 3 with the giant salmonid, the Salmonzilla was actually
Mm.
pretty good. Like I found that we would lose a lot. We could win, right? But
Yeah.
it was a pretty good balance.
It was pretty hard.
But although if we had a bad teammate, we were kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So
You need to be on your toes for
that is the
sure.
tough part. I mean, maybe at that point you're bringing your own friends to do it.
Yeah.
A lot of options though.
They could
But
make sure you're not a certain distance away from the objective or whatever.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, you can't be so far away.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of keep people in the same area.
Yeah. XS Show asks me, Mario Kart World Amiibo, good idea.
Man,
that's a lot of Amiibo. They can make one for each of the main cast. Not even they don't, bro. Cal, come on, Cal would go.
Cow would sell.
Cal
Would sell so much.
Yeah,
dude, everybody's picking cow. I
Do you
see
think
people
they
play
knew?
like at the events.
Do you think Nintendo knew? They were like, hey, this is gonna go. People are gonna go wild.
I am not sure that they knew quite how much people would like cow.
The cow had a significant segment during the direct, like during the trailer. Like there was like a
they
was
highlighted
shown.
cow for sure.
Right.
I think they knew they thought people would think it was kind of funny. Like they'd be like, that's kind of absurd, like, oh, cow character. But I don't think they anticipated how much people would be like, I would die for cow. Just for no reason.
Right. And
people
I guess
the cow.
So the thing is, the reason I asked that, right, is because if they anticipated how crazy people would go, then maybe they get an amiibo for cow ready quickly. I don't think they expected this level. Like I'm sure they thought it would be a thing, right? But to what extent is always hard to you never know.
Yeah.
So I doubt there would be a cow amiibo immediately, but maybe when they want to kind of tell us more about Mario Kart World's DLC or something, like in a September direct, they're like, hey, guess what? Cow amiibo coming out this December. Get ready. That would be so cool. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like there's a good chance amiibo do happen, but which amiibo they pick that's a tough call. Mario, obviously, Peach, Luigi, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Yoshi. I mean, I don't know how many amiibo would they even create. I'm not sure.
I don't know. And then you have all the costumes, so it's like, what costume do you use? Just the base one, I guess.
Yeah, but then it's tough. This is tough. I mean, maybe they just don't. But I feel like
amiibo aren't like they're still making them, right? But
they are still making them
nearly as big as it used to be, and they've really wind down on them.
They've also they've had an inclination towards announcing amiibo later on. Like, did you notice they announced like a whole bunch of new amiibo for Tears of the Kingdom recently? Like just now?
Yeah.
Like okay, they announced all the sages now or champion. Yeah, they're sages now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was to the point where I was like, weren't these already a thing? But no, they never were.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Like, no, they weren't. They had Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, and then they announced the sages. So now there are 7 Tears of the Kingdom amiibo. There might be 8 because there might be 2 different versions of Link. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, something like that. Anyways, moving past battle mode stuff. Do we think there's going to be a single player? Single player is winning in the poll
Right.
by a substantial margin, actually. It's not even
Okay.
close. So,
Single player, in terms of my gut, I feel like there's possibly, besides the fact that there's stuff to find in the open world, and of course there'll be time trials and things like this, I'm not certain that there's going to be a ton of single player only content in this game. I don't really see why there would be, to be honest. I'm struggling to even come up with a great concept for single player only stuff because I feel like you could just make it work with multiplayer for pretty much every concept.
well, we
I've
talked
been
about
coming
like
up with in my
bosses,
head.
right? Like a multiplayer boss fight. That could be a
Right.
mission mode thing. That could be an event. I really liked the weekly events from Mario Kart Wii, where there's sometimes boss fights or other team challenges. I
Mm.
would love for something like that to come back. That would be
Yeah,
so cool.
but it's
Yeah.
like that could also be multiplayer. Like maybe in the sense that you can play it single player, there would be a good amount of single player stuff. But I feel like there's just you could also just play it in multiplayer as well. So like, why not just offer it as
Right.
multiplayer or single player? So,
I mean,
and I'm not
single
sure if
player and
there's going to be a ton
multiplayer
of single
would.
player exclusive content. I don't see the point unless you can come. I haven't come up with a concept that makes sense to me, but maybe you can come up with something. Maybe Nintendo's come up with something, but everything that I've thought of as like potential single player stuff in the past all translates so well to multiplayer stuff in this specific title with the way they have it set up. So I don't know.
I think something to consider is that this is a launch title for Switch 2. And a lot of the reasons why we speculated there might be something else like maybe Metroid Prime 4 is because typically you have like a big single player game at launch, right?
Right.
And if Mario Kart doesn't have a single player campaign, then Nintendo kind of won't. Now, I kind of feel like it doesn't really matter. Um,
No. Yeah, it
like
doesn't. I don't
the thing
think it
is, like,
matters too
I'm so
much.
excited to play Mario Kart World. Like, I'm gonna have a good time just exploring the map, right?
Yeah,
So
and there'll be stuff that do single player if you want to play it by yourself. Like it's not going to be like this is a online only game or whatever, right? Like
yeah,
there's plenty to enjoy by yourself offline if you want. But it's
yeah.
I don't think there's really too much reason, and maybe I'll be eating my words, but I don't see too much reason for a bunch of exclusively single player content.
Well, I mean, I think the key word there is exclusive. I
Yeah,
feel like there is something else, but it's not so much the exclusive to single player. It can also be done multiplayer, which is also more interesting.
yeah,
Like you can play it by yourself if you want. That's fine. You can do that. So you still have your single player campaign if you want to call it that. But maybe there is like a mission or challenge mode, right? Like we go
mm,
back to this idea, um, you know, like of a my brain just like farted. I don't even know what I
mission
was saying.
mode,
Mission mode.
campaigns. I'm trying to trigger your brain here. Talk about single player.
So if we have like a mission or challenge mode, and we go back to this idea of like boss fights, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could do it by yourself.
Mm,
Maybe I don't know. Like, maybe it's not even something you would do by yourself, but you would do it with either like a team of CPUs or players. Like that's
right.
just how it's going to be. It's sort of like a larger scale thing. Maybe it's like chasing bosses, and it doesn't have to just have to be like team boss fights. There could be other challenges, right? And we mentioned the P switches and how that could be like a blue coin, like
Hmm.
obstacle course challenge. But something else I want to think about here is we've seen that the map is actually fairly dynamic, right? I've mentioned the weather, I've mentioned
Yeah.
the day night cycle, I've mentioned that some of the environment is destructible, but there's actually something else I talked about in today's video that's been noticed. There is a clip where I feel like I should just pull it up. It just makes more sense for me to pull it up. But basically, give me like 30 seconds. Is 30 seconds enough? Can I pull it up in 30 seconds? Possibly, maybe. I don't know.
If you're fast enough.
By the way, I saw intermissions. There is an option to like impact that, right? So for those that are kind of like, oh, is there a way to have normal Grand Prix in versus mode? It looks like there is. Anyway, so I
Okay.
have the clip that I was looking for. So this is, I think, actually a really big deal. So looking at this, pay attention to what's happening. Cal throws a blue shell. You see the blast, and now a wave comes from the blue shell.
Hmm.
So
Oh yeah.
the blue shell
Oh,
causes a
you're
wave,
right.
right? Yeah.
It
And
does.
so that's just another example of how dynamic the map can be. There's a lot of different things that can happen in this game. And so thinking on that, they can probably come up with all sorts of weird things that can happen, and they can create
Mhm.
unique challenges or obstacles that they could fill up a challenger mission mode if they wanted to. They could
Right.
absolutely do that. So I
Just
think something
seeing
like
this
that
clip,
might be on the table.
just kind of a random anecdote, but I love how the like it's no longer an animation for like when you get hit. It's kind of like a physics-based thing. Like it depends on your momentum and your angle, and if you're gonna bump into something. It's not like a pre-canned animation that's the same every time, like it used to be.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I do say. Are you talking about how like Cal like tumbles?
Yeah, I'm talking about when you get hit. It's not a pre-canned animation. It's based on various factors.
So you're saying we can see the cow tumble in different directions?
I mean, it's different every single time. It's based off of your momentum, what you got hit by, what you're close to. If you bump in, it's a physics-based kind of deal. Not like
Okay.
super realistic, but there's
Something
physics
to it.
to it. It's
Yeah.
not just the same animation every time.
Okay. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Like,
I'm
I'm only
surprised you
looking at
didn't know that.
I'm looking at just one thing
Obviously,
here.
you can't really tell in this because they're just getting
Yeah.
hit one time, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is.
Okay. It's cool. It's
I'm
very
pretty
cool.
sure, and I may be thinking of a different game, but I'm pretty sure this game also has like after it rains, like the puddles like dry up slowly over time. Because the puddles created by the rain, obviously. So the dynamic weather seems like it has some layers to it, but
Yeah, there is. That makes sense. I mean, it's not gonna stay wet forever. It dries.
yeah.
It takes some time. Yeah, I saw that the rain started immediately after a lightning bolt. I'm not sure if that's a consistent thing, but just something to think about. Anyway,
Oh yeah, I
so
have heard about that. Yeah, you can like
um,
trigger it with a lightning bolt item.
mhm. I guess something else is interesting, right? It's like, what if in this challenge mode, like they come up with even wilder weather effects, like tornado watch, right, or like
Ooh.
hellfire or something? Like they could do all sorts of crazy things, right? Like, it could rain bomb
Yeah.
bombs,
Oh,
like
that'd be cool.
they would be crazy. So it could rain cows, literally. They could rain cows and giraffes if they wanted to. It could
And they can
be
give you
a stampede of
like
animals.
a lot of items to attack with because obviously they got the shells and stuff, but
Yeah, the
like
feather
in
now is an
Mario Kart 8
item.
Deluxe, like you can get up to like 10 bombs at once and just like chuck them. So I imagine it'd be kind of similar where you could just get like a ton of bombs and just start chucking them at enemies, or even just a
Yeah.
giant boss or something.
I mean, it'd be crazy if they had like a horde mode where you're just getting
Oh,
bombarded by like a whole bunch of things, and so you got a whole bunch of you're stuck on a mountain with your friends. You have to find a way to escape, and you have shells and bomb, but you're getting ran up by a whole bunch of giraffes.
a whole bunch of
They
giraffes.
probably wouldn't pick giraffes for you to
No,
be bombing and
don't
shelling
murder the
intentionally,
giraffes.
but maybe like dry bones or what have you.
Right.
So yeah, that'd be crazy. Um, so one more thing I want to ask you, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about Metroid and Donkey Kong for a little bit. Um, do you think they will announce DLC in this direct?
No.
Do you think
I
there will be a DLC in the direct eventually for this game?
Potentially, but I don't think there's gonna be DLC very soon. Because I feel like if you're gonna have DLC for this type of game, you really need to make like another open world map and have it be like a full on expansion. And maybe they do that in like a year or two or even longer, like a while. Not like right after launch or something like that. I think this would need to be like a significant expansion and not, because if you're going to add new races, then like where you're going to add them to the same map? No, like there needs to be a new map.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of content, a lot of work. So I don't think it's going to be immediate. And it's probably going to be pretty expensive expansion pass.
I could see them adding new continents, but maybe each continent's not as big as the main one. So like maybe the first continent is 15 tracks, right? Or something like that. It's like basically half. And so the next one is a second one. So maybe eventually they basically double the amount of tracks in the game where we have 60 and there's 2 other continents, right? 3 years from now or something where there's 2 more. And yeah, they're smaller, and so there's not as many Grand Prix or knockouts, but you can warp to them instantly, and they're there.
Right. I mean, you could even
the,
have them connected if they're not too far away.
I
Maybe
mean,
the serpent sleeve, and you can go a little bit farther out.
Maybe. I do see that Guffaw said maybe a season instead of DLC. Like they could announce like a season pass. I guess. But what would it be, right? Because I agree that like at the end of the season, that would be like the big kind of expansion. But if it would have to be done in one shot, to your point, right? And so what would they do before that? Just add characters and costumes?
I mean, they've
maybe more
tried stuff like
challenges
that before, where they have just like a first wave of DLC that's not that interesting, but then the second wave that comes later is like the big expansion part.
Try a true formula.
Yeah, so maybe they do something like that. I don't see that. I mean,
I also feel like
$80 game and then also be like, here's a season pass.
I feel like if they announce DLC in this direct, it would be for free.
Yeah, like some like free update.
Or I mean, to your point, and maybe this makes more sense. They don't announce DLC, and they wait enough time to where they're like, maybe we can get away with charging people for this.
Yeah, I don't think you can come out, especially with a game people are already like drop the price and then be like, hey guys, day one there's gonna be a season pass. Buy the $100 edition to get the season pass or whatever.
So maybe what would be free, right, is because they did this for Mario Kart Wii, where there were weekly challenges, and you would fight like a boss or something like that. And so maybe there could be a little bit of a continuous kind of online update thing where you have weekly online challenges. Although if there's a challenge mode that's played through multiplayer, might kind of defeat the purpose, right? Where you kind of already do that. So it would be kind of like one or the other.
Yeah.
But I do really like the idea of them continually adding more skins, more costumes, right, for free.
Sure.
That's a nice little thing. So I feel like they can add more characters as well. So vehicles, there could be more vehicles they add later. And maybe they could add challenges. Like,
they could
these things could be added, but I also could see them being saved for a season pass, right? Like, there's a season pass, there'll be add new characters, they'll add new costumes, they add new vehicles, add new challenges, right? Throughout the season at the end, there is like the big new continent, right, with everything. Like I could see that, but is that announced in the direct, to your point? Because that feels like a lot to do for free. Like some little things could be for free, right? But if you're gonna do a whole other continent, maybe free is not.
No, that doesn't seem like they would.
Yeah. But also charging more money right out of the gates when the game's $80, also probably not the best
Also,
idea.
it's like these aren't just tracks. Like this has to be a fully connected open world with things to find. It has to be interesting not only during the tracks but also interesting in free roam. Like this could take a long time to develop. Like, is it really realistic for them to announce a whole other continent like when they, are just now, assumedly, pretty recently, finishing this game?
Yeah, we'll see on that. I feel like either A, this game took them 7 years to make, or there's another game that they've been working on.
I mean, given the scope of the game, I guess it is potential that it could have just taken them a
Bro,
very
if they're
long
okay,
time.
listen, if they announce in the direct that there are 2 more continents to play base game, then I'll be like, okay, game's $80 clearly, and this is the only game they've been working on for 7.5 years. I don't think that's the case. I really doubt that 100%. I think we have 30 tracks on this open world map and a lot of different things to do within it, and that's the game. And it's actually a lot, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's a lot.
Um,
Well, my point isn't that they're
Yeah.
haven't worked on anything else. My point is just I don't think that they've, been done. I don't think they're going to be able to get out a whole other continent worth of content in like,
not in 6 months.
a year or 6 months. Like, it's going to be like maybe maybe in a year to 2 years from now we see the first half, and then a year after that we might see like the second wave, and then after like 3 years, as you said before, like maybe then we have like a doubling of content. But I don't see that happening in like 6 years or 6 months to a year from now, right?
Sure.
So nothing
No.
they should announce during this direct, I wouldn't think.
I agree. Something was brought up in the chat that I wanted to address. Gilfal says could be a whole mirror world in itself, right? Or like, and then the let's make sure. What about mirror? Is that over? So I think I don't see why it should be. I think we've only seen treehouse footage. They're not going to show us everything. I
Right.
think that Mirror Cup should be back. I think 200cc should be back as well. The maps are bigger. Like
I mean, when you look at the toggles in the menu, when they're at 150cc, like and maybe the UI just doesn't work how I think it does, but it's not like grayed out to go higher than that. Like it's still like fully like red arrow. Like it looks like the UI should go up, further to the right
Sure.
from 150. So I do think 200cc is in there. It's not confirmed, but the UI doesn't suggest that there's nothing beyond 150.
Yeah. Now I'm like
Maybe it just goes right back to 50, but I don't know. I feel like it goes up to 200. Especially if you got this big open world,
Yeah, there's I'm gonna go back to one of the treehouse segments again because I think there's something there. Actually, I might have a screenshot.
I don't know if they show any of the UI with like a grayed out arrow if it's all the way through the option, right? Like I don't know if that's a thing. So I don't know if it really means anything. But at least doesn't deconfirm it.
Right.
But if we can find some other like part of the UI that
shows there's
grayed
this.
out.
So I'm trying to like make it bigger. Okay. This is what you're talking about.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so is that full? So that as big as it's gonna get.
I guess it's black, not red.
Yeah, this is a post by Emma at Record Store _ on Twitter. But so we see here, yeah, I mean, it doesn't show like it's the end, right? But the thing is, it also could just cycle back to 50cc.
Right.
Yeah. There's nothing that deconfirms it, to your point.
No. Yeah,
clearly,
like the hard difficulty, unless there's a very hard, it also suggests that there would be something beyond that. But it's likely not. Likely just scrolls back to easy.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think that there will be. I mean, the thing is, there should also be mirror, right? Like, it's not just 200cc. There should also be mirror, which is it's 150cc backwards. I want to see mirror. I want to see 200cc. To be honest with you, I feel like mirror shouldn't just be locked to 150. I think should be
Should be
Yeah,
allowed 200cc mirror.
I mean, I think you should be allowed to mirror all of them. But yeah, it would be
I
nice
mean,
if you could
fair.
mirror also 200. It's an easy way to increase the amount of things you can do in the game. By the way, right? Like
Yeah.
200cc, great. If you have mirror, if you have 200cc, just combine them. That's a whole other one that you can do. So I hope they do that. That would be nice. But looking here,
Curious how
something that people
mirror
are
would
pointing
work.
out is that there's an intermission option,
Hmm.
and so might not be applicable to Knockout Tour. I mean, not if you think about it, Knockout Tour will not have teams,
Yeah.
right? So that's why that's grayed out completely. It's not an option.
Right.
Race counts would also not matter because you're not going to increase the amount of laps in Knockout Tour because it's a single
Yeah.
route, right?
And it
And then
has to be
also
a certain amount of races because there's a certain amount of cutoffs till the
Knockout Tour is
winner.
one race. It's one race going through 6 tracks.
Right. That's just
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not Knockout Tour. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then intermission's also grayed out because this is not a Knockout Tour feature. This is a Grand Prix feature because between Grand Prix, what do you have? You have an intermission. There is there's something happens in between the races. And now what I wonder is that just kind of like,
I assume that's just the racing to the next race part, right?
right.
Which I guess you just can't turn off for Knockout Tour, which makes sense.
Right. Well, the thing is though, intermission, like the racing to the next track, it's part of the race, right? Like it's almost basically what they do is they just turn the second, third, and fourth tracks into like kind of like they're not 3 laps, they're 3 sections. They become sectioned races instead. I
believe Knockout Tour is the same way. I assume you just can't turn it off because it wouldn't be Knockout Tour then if it
wouldn't be
not
Knockout
one
Tour.
continuous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's on by default. It has to be on.
Right. Exactly. But Grand Prix, you could in theory turn it off, and so the hope is you still have Grand Prix Classic essentially by turning this off.
Which is pretty important because I assume after a while, racing between each race may not be something you always want to do. You might just want to just race on the tracks.
Probably want to at least have the option.
Yeah.
There's something else I want. I don't know if this is a prediction. It's a wish. And I wish I could predict it because I feel like this is absolutely the smartest thing they should do. But will they do it? I do not know. I'm actually extremely worried because this is the worst thing that they did in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It is absolutely the most terrible thing I think I've seen Nintendo ever do.
Okay, I have no idea what you're going to say, but I'm so curious.
The antennas.
The antennas. You mean like the auto steering and stuff?
Right. So the antennas, they blink yellow when you're trying to go off track. They force you to stay on track. Right. That is the default choice in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is the dumbest thing I think Nintendo has ever done. Because most people do not want that. But here's the other insane thing. If people aren't paying attention, it's just going to be on. And every time I play with people, play Mario Kart 8 with people, I'm like, hey, you're going to want to turn off your antenna. Well, press plus, do that. Every time. Yeah. That should not be it. It should be default off. Maybe when you start the game, there's like a prompt that comes up like, hey, do you want to turn this on? Or maybe if you lose a lot or you're falling off track a lot, the game will ask you, hey, do you want to turn this on? Like, I think you do things like that, right? If you're worried about people suffering or struggling, but please don't make it the default. It's so stupid. Or at the very least, have saved profiles. So like if you're playing Mario Kart 8, it does remember your last choice that you've picked, 8 Deluxe, right? It'll remember the last character. It'll remember that the last settings you picked, right? But if you're playing with friends, no, they're all starting from scratch and they're all starting default with the antenna every time. So maybe make it like Smash where you have your own profile assigned into. That'd be great. There's been no evidence of that so far from what I've seen, but that would be great. Or just please don't make the antennas the default thing. That is the worst thing ever done in a Nintendo game, in my opinion. It is Mario Kart Deluxe is otherwise a perfect game, and that one thing is a huge stain on humanity for me. It's like it's
funny because back when I used to play Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, I'd want to play it with my younger siblings, and some of them were so young they did not understand how to play the game. And so when they came out with the settings for the deluxe version automatically on, I was like, oh, this is great because I can turn it off for myself, and then as soon as I play with them, it's just on, and then they can just get through. Because the most annoying thing, in my opinion, is the fact that in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe, the race does not end until the final person has crossed the finish line. It just won't end. So if my sibling, who's 2 years old, is running into a wall on his first lap and I've finished the race, I now have to go grab his controller and finish the race for him. Or I can put on these settings, which automatically being on helps because he does not like the idea that they're on. So the fact that they're automatically on means that like they're on, but I didn't have to go put them on, so he doesn't even know. So it's funny because I agree that for most people, most situations, that is a dumb thing to do, and they shouldn't be default. But in my specific case, it was actually very, very helpful.
I mean, you can turn it on. You can turn it on. I'm not saying take rid of the feature. Just saying don't make it the default option. That's it.
Right. In my specific instance, it was very helpful for it to be the default option. But for most people, I understand why it would be more
Yeah.
annoying.
Because then you have to change it to that every time. Make sure you put on
Yeah.
your antenna. You want to be special. Like, yeah, I understand your point. Yeah. Profiles.
Yes.
I
Profiles.
think that would make a difference. That would help. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Mario Kart, but let's move on.
All right.
And the poll. So let's see where the poll's at. There's something I want to ask you, Brandon.
No.
Okay.
Go away.
Okay.
No. Okay. What do you want?
Oh,
Fine. I guess I'll answer.
I unfriended you already.
No.
Yeah.
All evidence of my existence on this channel instantly gets wiped. It's
Wiped.
gone.
Wiped. I'm waiting for the polls to show up in the chat. They're not showing up.
They're showing up for me.
Well, I guess it just hates me then. Yeah,
Refresh. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, there they are. They just finally popped up. So, of the 117 votes we got in the poll, most likely Mario Kart World Direct announcement, 55% picked a single player campaign.
All right.
21% picked Battle Royale mode. 12% said non-Mario universe characters. 10% said expansion pass. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe none of those.
I kind of agree with these, except I feel like the single player stuff's gonna end up being optionally multiplayer as well.
Sure. I mean, like I said, I only gave them 4 options, right? So like maybe all of them are unlikely, right? They just picked the one out of them that's most likely, and that could still be very unlikely. Yeah.
Expansion pass being at 10%, I feel speaks volumes. People do not want to hear about an expansion pass right now. That's the last thing people want to hear about Mario is how they can spend more money on it.
Yeah. So I want to show you something.
All right.
This is something I want to talk about Metroid Prime 4 now.
All right, cool.
I'm like a lot more eager to look at all the treehouse footage and stuff because of the screen I have. But
it's good.
I love it. So, man, this just looks so good. I don't know how good it looks to you, but it looks amazing to me. Anyway,
a lot of compression on my end, but it still looks beautiful.
So pay attention to what happens in this cutscene. Okay. Notice the artifact behind Samus.
Yes.
Right? Uh-oh. She does a roll to be a little bit more in front of it. Silex, Pirates, and Metroid Mockdroids come in.
Yes.
Okay. He starts charging up his shot. Right? Notice how the artifact, it's kind of behind Samus, but it's more like a little bit to her right. There are angles there, but I feel like the way the camera is depicting it, it seems like it's a little bit to Samus's left, right? From her perspective,
left.
right? But from Silex's, it would be a little bit to her right. Right?
Yes.
So like you see that like as the camera like straightens out a little bit, like that is. Yeah, I love how you can see the Federation trooper there. Like that is not, that's not directly behind her. It's like a little bit to the side, right? And so I think this is interesting because what happens next? Silex and her have a little bit of a face off. They're staring at each other, right? They're pointing at each other, supposedly pointing at each other. And Silex shoots. Wait, what? Hold on.
It was never aimed at her in the first place. In fact, it reaches her before she moves out of the way.
It looks like that, right? It looks like Silex was aiming to shoot at the artifact. I mean, just look how close it is to the trooper, right? Like, yeah, if maybe you could say there are camera angles are playing a trick on us, but you can see where the trooper's at. The charge shot passes right by the trooper, So I think that to me, I mean, it's a straight shot, like it's dead set center of the art. It's symmetrical, right? Like it's not like, oh, he missed Samus and accidentally hit the artifact like a Dumbo. No,
Recalculated.
I think he was just calculated. Yeah, and so I find this really interesting. Extremely interesting. My voice is still recovering. I'm sorry. It just sound like garbage.
I mean, he gets whooped by Samus immediately, so maybe he always was planning on doing this.
Man, yeah. I think so. So there's something else I want to point out about this. I think adds more context. It's important. But first, I'm just backing up a few frames because I just thought like the lighting on this environment looked really good.
It does.
Like, it's not too common in this day and age, and on Nintendo games where the ground textures look good. But they look good here.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, they look good. I know it's a simple thing, but I'm just saying they look good. Anyway, so let's go back to the beginning. It is Cosmic Year 20X9. Determined to defeat Samus and the Galactic Federation, Silex and his army of space pirates launched a series of attacks on Federation research facilities. Not just one, it's a series of attacks.
Right.
Okay, they've been working on this. And what do they say next? It is believed the space pirates are being controlled. So this part's not important to my theory here. It's just that explains that they've been doing this for a little bit, right? This is not the first one. This is one of many that have been happening.
I gotta say the motion blur, the depth of field, and like all the different post-process effects they have in these cutscenes make them look very movie-like.
Oh yeah, this looks so much like a movie.
So cinematic.
Yeah,
and they scale so well to 4K.
I mean, this looks like Halo. This looks like a Halo movie.
Oh no, yeah. I always thought that this beginning area was very Halo inspired, especially with the big ships.
Like this footage here feels like a commercial or a trailer for a Halo movie.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I think this might be one of the best looking cutscenes, probably the best looking cutscene we've ever seen from Nintendo.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forwarding a little bit. So, man, this
there's a lot more purple ooze coming out of that crater, by the way, than there was in the original trailer.
Yeah,
this
I know
area seems to be heavily changed.
Build. It is heavily changed, right? And I understand your point.
That first trailer had like frame drops and stuff too.
Like Vuros on Switch 2 only looks slightly better than the one on Switch. I mean, it looks noticeably better, but not as much different as this is compared to that Switch 1 trailer in June. Anyway,
this area looks wild.
I got distracted looking at the visuals. So there's an important thing. There's a dialogue point. All right.
Okay.
All right, so pay attention to the dialogue. Okay, you're gonna see at the
Okay.
bottom here.
Hmm. So what are they looking for?
Galactic Federation trooper. What are these pirates looking for? Okay, they came out of nowhere. How'd they get the drop on us? So this is also interesting. How'd they get the drop on us? Like how
Mm,
like this is a surprise attack, and they
right.
know that like the Federation knows that they're getting attacked by these, so they're already on high alert.
Hmm.
The suggestion here is that somehow, despite them being on high alert, they still got the drop on them again. So maybe some inside knowledge. Salix has a hatred for the Federation Force. He has invaded them beforehand. He stole a Metroid at the end of Federation Force, which I kind of
Right.
assume they've genetically changed or reproduced to become the Metroids we see, or Mocktroids that are now fusing with everything. But continuing, they also say next, this ain't no usual invasion. They are up to something. And so that dialogue, I think, is important when we go back to this scene with Silex, because man, this is a beautiful frame.
Mm, yeah.
But my point is, Silex has clearly been built up. Look at the budget. Obviously, there's a budget here, right? Like
Oh yeah.
Kensuke Tanabe has been talking about wanting to build in the story of Silex for decades, basically. We've essentially known that Silex will be part of the story since the end of Metroid Prime 3 that came out in 2007. I think these many years of build-ups, these repeated cameos or teasers at the end of different Metroid games, clearly the focus in this game, to then just have him be a fool in this moment. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that he's just a dumbass that shoots the artifact and stays
Yeah.
useless. To me, it makes way more narrative sense that it was a calculated move.
I think
And if
so.
not a calculated move, then it's because he's so emotionally distressed at the sight of Samus, because there is some sort of character relationship there that they will depict and tell us about throughout the story, that it will make sense. Main point is, Silex isn't like some dumb loser. He's leading the space pirates. He's shocking the Federation. Like he's getting the jump on them.
Hmm.
He's been hacking their stuff. He's been stealing Metroids, repeated attacks, all successful. He's clearly very powerful. Samus sees him as a threat. And so to just think, and then you have all this buildup for so many years where he clearly is an important character. For him to just be an irresponsible fool in this really important moment, they want the artifact. Like this is why they're
Hmm.
here. So to just blast at it haphazardly doesn't make any sense. And here's the other thing. Let's say he was aiming at Samus. He should be an intelligent character, right?
Yeah.
He shouldn't be aiming at Samus if she is like directly in front of it, if he doesn't want to hit it. Like, it's just not
True.
smart, right? And so either A, this is a tremendous oversight on how they've been depicting this character for all these years, or B, it's all part of the plan.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious that if he wasn't aiming for the artifact, then he whiffed that shot pretty hard, because Samus did not actually need to move at all. It was not going to hit her. The blast was,
Yeah.
way off.
Yeah,
Wasn't
it
even
was.
close.
This is also like, it's an electrical thing. Like, it might even have a homing ability. So
Mm,
I don't know. To me, it makes more sense to think that this is intentional. Now, at the
I
same
agree.
time,
This looks intentional.
did he anticipate that it would do all this? That they would send them to another world?
Potentially, if he knew what the artifact was.
And I don't think it's just Samus that has been sent here, right? Because we've looked at the
No.
prior trailer, right? And we saw pieces of the Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
We saw a boss that was
Pieces
also
of
fused
big
with the
mechs.
Metroids. Yeah, like there's clearly elements that we've seen in this intro that are also in Viros.
Yeah. And that wasn't as obvious till they showed some more of the intro, because like we saw in the trailer those like big robots hanging by the vines, and we were like, "What are those?" And they're you can see them in this footage in the treehouse. They're used by the Federation. Big robot mechs they have.
Yeah.
So yeah, clearly a bunch of stuff got shoved into this other dimension or place or whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah. And so yeah, that's what I think.
I bet Silex went there as well. I mean, he was pretty close, so
Yeah. Guys, my voice has reached its limit for the night. I'm also hungry, so I am now going to call it
fair.
a night for the stream. I'll give it another like 2 or 3 minutes for some final questions or things you want us to bring up or talk about. So putting that out there now. Checking with the chat. XS show. I think he has a crush on Samus. He got all kinds of nervous.
Yeah,
Maybe
he got the butterflies in his stomach and
maybe
just missed the shot.
Having hope. Can't wait to play this. Please, Nintendo, give us the release date soon. Maybe in June, late June.
Yeah.
Connor, the roster and air riders I would like to see: Dream, Friends, and Kirby Anime, or they could just have the same roster and air ride, but with Mark's, Bandana D, and the Kirby Anime characters. I
Yeah,
can't really
would like
speak for
to
roster,
see-
but that sounds great.
I would like to see actual gameplay of that game. Be nice. Not a big fan of CGI reveals.
Yeah. It is odd, but I feel like they just want to they're probably trying to optimize and they want it to be running perfectly smooth for the first time to show it off, and they're not there yet. And also maybe they want to save a bigger reveal for after things like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza come out.
It's just odd because it is coming out this year.
Yeah, it is odd. I think the same thing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to add, Brandon?
No, I'm very excited for Prime 4 though. I think it looks really good. I think there's also for the Mario Kart Direct, I'm very, very interested if they're actually going to have a lot of stuff that feels like super new to show. I'm curious. I think there's going to be definitely some new things, but I'm curious if we'll walk away from the Direct being like, man, this is like even more, way more content, or if it's just going to be like, some nice stuff, but nothing like too crazy. I'm curious because they've already shown so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see.
Yeah. One more thing I'll bring up. I saw Wilberforce Wooster brought this up earlier. Soul Calibur 2 has Link. We are gonna get to play Soul Calibur 2 day one on Switch 2, widescreen. I'm assuming 4K. I'm not sure, but
I believe
4K upscale.
The games are rendering around like 900p. There are a couple. It's not actually that high, surprisingly. It's like 900p. I believe Wind Waker is like a weird like 4:3 aspect ratio, but it is the equivalent of 900p. And then when the games that have widescreen mode, it's just like normal 1600 by 900.
You take that back.
I don't think it's anything. I mean, I know it's not anything super high res, but I'm pretty sure it's around 900p.
Do you take that back?
I won't.
Good. This is not what I thought I was going to see. Okay, so like, I love how for the first half of this treehouse they play like Four Swords instead of showing off these beauties. Game still looks great.
No, yeah, I mean it's definitely a much higher resolution than it originally was. But I was surprised. I mean, it was pretty obvious when you saw the games that they're not running like 4K. But when I saw pixel people pixel counting it out to like 900p, I was like, oh, that's lower than I thought it was going to be. I thought they would go
Yeah.
for like, like 1440p or 4K or something. Like obviously because of the nature of how these games work resolution wise, they don't necessarily scale exactly to normal resolutions, but I would expect, the equivalent of 4K
Yeah. I mean,
for
there were some
these
games that had a
games.
widescreen mode. So as you just saw here, they turn on the widescreen mode for
Yeah.
F-Zero.
So
And just
any
wait till
game
you
that
see
had
gameplay.
widescreen when it in the initial version allows it here as well.
This game holds up pretty well, though. Like, it looks
That's
pretty
pretty good.
good. Especially, like, once, like, the gameplay starts or, like, and it's moving fast. Because when everything's moving fast, right, you don't have time to, like, look at all the little details.
Right.
And it just looks good. Like, see, now that it's, like it's going, you're like, oh, snap. Like, it just,
It's
it
like
looks good.
It's like 15 FPS on our end, but
Oh, well, I'm sorry. But then they got Soul Calibur 2, dude. My God, like literally my two
yeah.
favorite racing and fighting games on GameCube right here. Oh, it's lagging on my end too. Yeah, this is like such a win. Like it's the fact that GameCube's there day one. It's almost like, oh, do I even need to buy anything else outside of like Mario Kart? Obviously, I'm thinking about getting Cyberpunk though. Anyway, it's lagging. So anyway, yeah. Let's see here. Connor. But wait, one more question. Is this is an idea for Kirby Air Rider? So they don't add Susie as a playable character. Maybe they can have her as a repairwoman. What do you think? Sounds good.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
know
not
anything about
yeah.
I've never played Kirby Air Rider.
Yeah,
So
Connor, you're more of a Kirby master than I am. So, sounds I'm all for it. Yep. Anyway, that is it for now, everyone. Thank you all for listening and watching. Oh, doing a live stream on Thursday, by the way. Gonna
nice.
be a pretty cool live stream because not only will be talking more about the Mario Kart World Direct, but also I got a guest that a lot of Metroid fans might be very happy to listen to. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Anyways,
Cool.
that is all for now. We'll see you all soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.